without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
We don't want you on our team.
You're not the right fit for this job.
You're too slow and fast.
Don't you care how you look?
Weight bias hurts. Go to stopweightbias.com. A public service message from Obesity Action Coalition.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. A couple of thunderstorms likely to bubble up for us this afternoon, but the real story, the heat, a high of 93, feeling more like right around 100. 76 overnight tonight and even hotter tomorrow with a high of 95. It'll feel like 103 in the afternoon, and we have a slight chance for thunderstorms.
Weather report brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcomb&company.com. 3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 307 points to 42,207.
Bryce in the pocket, steps up, eludes the rush, throws, end zone, caught, Adam Thielen, touchdown!
He'll toss it that way to Hampton, and he is in. Touchdown, Carolina.
Bailey, shotgun, snap left hashes, QB keeper, dives forward, touchdown. Bailey is third of the night.
Cooper faces up with 5 and 4, drives Davis, spins, waiting, fades away, and hits!
Game over! Series over! Sebastian!
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan on this Tuesday. College Baseball World Series is going on. Louisville and Oregon State. We'll keep you updated throughout the show. Go ACC. The producer for today is our guy Max. Dennis, a little under the weather, so Max stepping up, already in the bullpen to start the show. And as we go now, it's time for the Big 3 at 3. I got to get used to the intro. It feels so monumental.
It's so dramatic. I didn't know what to expect, but I'm blown away.
It's like the trailer to a Christopher Nolan movie or something. We better confuse you now. The Big 3 at 3 starts with number 1. The Thunder won last night. Pivotal Game 5, as we described. The Thunder win. Here is how goofy ring culture is, and we're going to talk about this, right? Because ring culture is rampant in the NBA. It is for certain positions in other sports, but even we fell for it. Yesterday, we talked about how much the outcome of this series is going to impact the legacies or the standing in the league of guys like Tyrese Halliburton and guys like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? Do they vault into that next conversation or not? And then Tyrese Halliburton scores, what was it, like -5 points? He had 4 points, no made field goals. And, of course, the world wants to trash him, right? Now his legacy is tarnished, right? You can't have that game in an NBA Finals. Well, turns out he likely sprained his calf or strained his calf in the first quarter of that one. He's going to have an MRI today to determine the level of, the severity of the strain. And who knows, maybe that changes things, right? Because now he's a warrior. He's playing through injuries. He didn't come out. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander scored 30, hit a couple tough buckets. They win the game. They're one away from a championship. He's about to be vaulted into the all-time greats. You know what's the funniest part about all of it? Neither of those two guys decided the outcome. Tyrese Halliburton did not play well. They were still in it for much of the game, and they didn't lose by 40. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander played great. He wasn't even the leading scorer on his own team, as Jalen Williams dropped a 40 spot. So we're going to decide Halliburton's legacy. We're going to decide Rick Carlisle's legacy. We're going to decide SGA's legacy, and it's all going to hinge on whether Jalen Williams gets hot, scores 40. Team sport ring culture is hilarious. Here's Jalen Williams on if he saw his 40-point performance coming.
I think first, like the biggest game thing I've gotten kind of numb to, because every time we play in the finals, it's the biggest game of your life. You know what I mean? So I think that's given me a little more comfort in just like playing hard and playing aggressive. I think I just understand the opportunity that we have, and I just try and play as hard as I can, and then whatever happens after that is where the chips fall. But I'd be lying if I said I could imagine doing what I did tonight, but I definitely could have seen myself here a long time ago. I just didn't think it would happen this fast, and I didn't think it would be with a group of guys that, you know, I truly am like grateful to be around.
Well, you just kind of putting your nose down and working hard may have earned SGA a spot in an inner circle of the current generation. And it's so funny how there's so many moments like that throughout history where some role player catches fire and now all of a sudden XYZ big player gets to be, you know, oh, now they can win the big one. Right? LeBron doesn't win unless Ray Allen and Chris Bosh combine for that shot. And it's now LeBron, oh, he is clutch. Never mind. It's funny to me. That's number one. Let's hit number two on the big three at 3. Shohei Ohtani pitched yesterday. And in a weird way, in a strange way, whatever you want to say, him pitching horribly showed how special Shohei Ohtani is. That's it. I'm just going to let you know right now. When Shohei pitches and hits, I immediately become like a small child again, because it makes no sense to me, and the greatness is crazy. And he pitched, what was it, 1 inning, gave up a run, didn't do darn near anything that you were hoping he was going to do on the mound, and he gets pulled, and he doesn't get the win, and he doesn't do everything we were hoping for, and he gives up 2 hits. And he doesn't strike anybody out, and he gives up the earned run. But in only Shohei Ohtani way, he also has 2 hits, 2 RBI, and a walk. That's the crazy part to me. Every other pitcher has an awful day. They go to the clubhouse and they sulk. He's the only one that can go erase his losses. I really didn't pitch well. Well, I'm going to have to make sure I do something at the plate to make up for it. That's crazy. That's absurd. And I'm just going to continue to hype him up because I'm big on appreciating greatness. I'm not a Dodger fan. I'm not an Angels fan. I don't very often stay up for the 10:30 baseball games, but I am fascinated by what that guy's able to do. And it's like I don't know how else. Is he a Nike guy? Do we know, or a Gatorade guy?
Ohtani's New Balance.
New Balance, okay. There used to be all these Nike commercials, so New Balance should pick this up, where it's just like the people can't tell you what you can do. You're going to be a barrier breaker. Shohei is the best example of that. You're not supposed to be able to pitch and hit, and he just kind of went, yeah, I will. And they're like, no. And he's like, no, and not only, you're going to pay me a lot, I'm going to do it, and I'm also going to be an MVP. And that's not how it works. Yeah, it is. For me. So shout out to Ohtani. And then number 1, Stanley Cup Final, Game 6 tonight. This one is juicy for a lot of reasons. In a strange way, I think the Oilers have kind of given up what is every advantage for a team that's down 3-2. And what I mean by that is, traditionally, if you're down 3-2, the thing that you have is desperation. The thing that you have is you truly are playing with no tomorrow. And the opposing team sometimes overlooks it because they're like, we're up, right? One more win and it's over. They almost start planning the parade. Right? I wonder who's going to be on my float. I wonder if I'm going to be able to, bring my kid with me. And how big's the ring going to be? But when the Oilers were down 3-0 last year and they forced Game 7 against this same Oilers team, against this same Panthers team, you're getting the full Panthers because they know what you're capable of when your back's against the wall. And they may have been caught off guard last year. It's not going to happen again. So their failed unbelievable comeback attempt last year has really set them up to not sneak up on anybody this year in their comeback attempt. So I want to see selfish Connor McDavid. I want to see selfish Leon Draisaitl. When they're both on the ice together, power plays and things, I think they can play off of each other. But other than that, I want to see the best players on the team, the best players in the world in a lot of cases, try to put the team on their back. It is funny that we're starting to hear a much higher heightened version. I'm not comparing the two players, but a much higher heightened version of the conversations we have about Aho, about McDavid, where Oilers fans are going, shoot! I get it. You're unselfish. You want to set everybody up, and oh my goodness, you can blow by your guy and then dish it off. Shoot! Which again is McDavid is in a different category. I'm not comparing the quality, but it is a similar conversation where you want that avocado selfishness, as I call it.
You definitely need to see, like, for as transcendent of a talent as he is, like backs against the wall, like this is the time when you need to show up and you need to lead and you need to backpack your team and force them to go back for Game 7. It's definitely a big moment for his overall like perception and legacy. If he can put out a good performance tonight, maybe score a goal. If not, he'll probably have like 3 or 4 assists. You know how he does. So
yeah, he'll have the most disappointing 3 assists ever. The most disappointing like three-point game because it's McDavid, and like especially if they lose 5-4 and he has 3 assists, it'll be just the most blame heaped on someone with 3 points in a very, very long time. And on the other side, selfishly, I want to see really good performances in a win or a loss from Brad Marchand, Sam Bennett, and Aaron Ekblad for this reason. They're all free agents, and I don't think they end up with the Canes. I know a lot of people want Sam Bennett, but I think he's going to stay in Florida. I think all 3 are going to be free agents unless Sam Bennett signs before he gets there, but still he'll sign a new contract. And I'm just in the interest of whoever signs them, I want them to have to spend more if it's not the Canes, because that's less to then go spend competing with the Canes on other signees this offseason. So, I want a really good game from the guys that are going to hit the market selfishly. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Big 3 at 3. Speaking of the Canes hitting the market, there is a main goal for the Canes this offseason. We're talking free agency money. We're talking draft picks to trade. We're talking prospects to trade, perhaps NHL players to trade. There is a main goal that we cannot lose sight of despite all the flashy everything else that's available. I'll tell you what that is. Don't go anywhere.
You put sunscreen on when you go out in the sun. Did you know that the sun could hurt your car, too? It's true. Keep cool this summer and protect the interior from fading and cracking with a custom window tint from SoundStation and Security. The sun's harmful UV rays can also hurt your paint on the exterior. That's why SoundStation and Security offers custom ceramic coating. Think of it as a little sunscreen with SoundStation and Security. 2 locations in downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. Online at myhotsound.com.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code POWER to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code POWER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Protect your home and auto with a bundle from Progressive so you can stop worrying about them and invent new things to worry about, like snakes in your bedroom. Sure, that sounds incredibly irrational, but now that we've mentioned it, you are a little worried. The odds of one snake, let alone snakes plural, are so slim. But you might want to check. Oh, you're not near your bedroom. Guess you'll just have to sit there and worry about it. So let Progressive protect your home and auto, because you've got enough to worry about. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Now Hall, all alone, in on Thompson. Hall scores! What a play! What a transition pass! And Taylor Hall puts Carolina back up by 2. It's 3-1.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. All right, so we're really just getting started into the offseason for the Canes. I've already seen some fans like resigning, like, oh, I guess this offseason isn't going to be as firework-filled as we thought. And I'm going, it hasn't even started yet. But I do think we can narrow our focus. I think we can hone in. If I were a high school coach of some kind, the acronym I'd be using is WIN. What's important now? I think we can make sure we're not going to be distracted. Don't be distracted by all the fancy wingers out there. And make sure you get yourself a center. And I don't want to contribute to the distractions, okay? The free agency center group is not great. So maybe it's more fun to talk about the wingers, so occasionally we do that. But I want everybody to know where my focus is, which is get yourself a center. And I'll explain why. But first of all, the free agency center group, if you go to like the listicles, right, if you want to go to the rankers and the national websites, you're looking at Tavares out of Toronto, older guy. You're looking at Bennett, who I don't even think is really available because Florida's not letting him go after this postseason. Duchesne out of Dallas, older guy. Suter out of Vancouver, maybe. Trent Frederick, who's playing like 10 minutes a night with Edmonton. Those are the top free agents. And then you look at the free agent wings. We've talked about Mitch Marner. Some think he could play center, but he's a winger. Nikolai Ehlers, who we've talked about. J.J. Peterka might be available. Brock Besser might be available. Right? You start throwing all these names out there, and suddenly you're like, all right, let's talk about what it's going to take to get Marner and Ehlers. And it's going, whoa, 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 whoa. Every time, and this is how I kind of knew we had to focus it in. Every time one of those names, one of those wings, scoring wings are brought up, my response is often the same, which is, oh, I really like that guy. I really like that player. But if they get a center and that guy, I'm all in. Then I'm excited. If they don't get the center, then I'm going, why'd you spend so much money on this wing? The center is something that, it's simply more difficult to get. As the Canes have proven each of the last 2 trade deadlines, someone will be selling a high-scoring winger at the deadline. Right? Gensel, Mikko, you know what it is. But it's very rare for somebody to be selling a young center who's out there ready to perform at the level the Canes need them to perform. And we have to almost remember our own thoughts. Right? Think about that one. And it gets you twisted into a pretzel. How many times over the last, it's not even like the last couple of months, over the last 2-3 years, have we talked about the Canes' need for a second-line center? The Canes need a second-line center. And then we go down some rabbit holes talking about Kokiniemi, or we go down some rabbit holes talking about Roslovic, or we go down some rabbit holes talking about guys in the developmental system. And it always comes back to they need a second-line center. Why is Jordan Stahl skating second-line minutes? We need a second-line center. Yeah. And the argument is, very simply, and I've made this argument, is it's not that easy. I believe 2 off-seasons ago they went into the off-season hoping to land a second-line center. I believe last off-season they went into the off-season hoping to land a second-line. I believe most conversations they're hoping to land a second-line center. They don't grow on trees. You know what centers are? And this is an analogy that just popped in, not in the notes. So it's off the top. Hopefully it works. Max, by this time, you know I love my analogies. They are pickup trucks. Pickup trucks. And the reason why I say that is a while ago, years ago, I was looking for a new car, right? And obviously I was looking for like a new used car. And in my mid-20s, I was thinking like, I'm going to be a manly man. Let me go get a pickup truck because I need to haul stuff. I work in radio. I do yard work. That's about it. Like, I need to haul stuff. Let me get a manly man pickup truck.
Those headphones are heavy, man.
Yeah, seriously. His laptop isn't going to move itself. And I talked to my buddy that was a car guy, and he went, it's actually really difficult. I don't know if this is true, but he told me. He was like, it's actually really difficult to get a used pickup truck because people don't get rid of them. Even if they're going to go buy an SUV or buy a sedan or a sports car, they like keeping the pickup truck for when they have to haul stuff. So they don't go trade it in like you do with every other car. So, when someone's getting a new car, unless they're getting a great deal on the payoff for a pickup truck, they just keep it. I kind of think of centers the same way, where it's like if you're getting a winger, you feel like you can spare a winger. When you're getting a defenseman, all right, we got 4 right-handed defensemen. We can probably move on from one of these, or we can let one walk in free agency. You can never have too many centers. So they're not available. How many years have we gone, they need to get a center, and there's just not a direct path. It's not like, okay, well, you got to do this, and then you get a center. This offseason is kind of the what's the draft day, right? The movie with Kevin Costner, Vontae Mack, no matter what. It's kind of like center no matter what. And for the first time in a long time, they can be the big chip stack at the table, right? They can look around and say, all right, we want to trade for, name your center, Tage Thompson, because Dennis is all over Tage Thompson. But pick yours. Pick whoever your favorite is, right? Whoever is Eric Tulski's dream center, the player that unlocks everything this roster was built to do, and say, okay, what's the best offer you've gotten in the trade market? All right, we'll do that and another prospect. All right, we'll do that and another whatever because you have it. Because you have it. Or, oh, he's making it tough to trade him to all these other places because they don't want to agree to a contract for X amount of dollars. Canes can go, all right, we'll do it because we have the free agency space. And then once you get that, right, once center no matter what is taken care of, then your budget becomes more fun. Then you can go shopping in the flashy aisle, right? Then you can go, if you still have the cash, entertain Mitch Marner for $14 million a year, which would make Mitch Marner at least tied for the highest paid player in the league, which sounds ridiculous unless you kind of have all your basic necessities already taken care of and you get to go splurge. Right? Then you can go call up Nikolai Ehlers' agent and say, we have a lot of guys with, 30 goal ceilings, but you do some things advanced analytic-wise that we like, and we can pair you with our new flashy second-line center and have a nice, solid top 6, and you can do that. But don't do that at the expense of the center. It's to me, some of these wings are the candy at the checkout stand. It's impulse. Ooh, that looks good. It's flashy, bubblicious. Beep, put it in the bag. When you're going to the grocery store, you need to make sure, like, hey, we're having steaks tonight. You need to make sure you go get the steaks. Don't walk down the cereal aisle where you got all those mascots telling you, sugary goodness. Like make sure you get what you want, what you set out to get. And by the way, this is not me saying we're not going to talk wings. We're not going to talk about who fits with the Canes. We're not going to talk about that luxurious 40-goal scorer that we all fantasize about. That's great. And we will continue to hope you can do both. But if you made me choose one or the other right now, are you getting an effective? Heck, if you really want to go crazy, I would be okay with moving Sebastian Aho to a second line if that means you have a true stud on your first line. And then guess what I'm doing? Just for my own well-being. I'm calling those lines 1A and 1B. But we will know in our heart of hearts what's going on. Like, if you want to go do that, I'm cool with it because it's that darn important. Sebastian Aho would be an unreal second-line center, 1B center. He'd be unreal. But that, to me, is the priority, and we can't get distracted by everything else. Right-handed defenseman is another thing that you probably need at least a veteran of, but I'm not going out with the hopes of solving right-handed defensemen for $3 or $4 million with a veteran and then getting like, ooh, look at this, and spending $8 million on one, right? I don't want that. And same thing with goalie. I think when they made the decision to extend Freddie Anderson on a one-year extension, that was them surveying the field and saying, I don't think we're going to solve our long-term issue at goalie this offseason. Let's push that one more year, which, by the way, the cap is expected to go up another $9 million this year and next year roughly, and some are saying it's going to go up even more than that. So you'll have some money to spend. If that's the plan for goalie, don't go setting out now and get into trade talks. Right. Hey, we're asking about the center, and then they go, all right, the center, what about the center and the goalie? And you're like, all right, if that's what it's going to take. All right, what if we took the center out, and now you're just getting the goalie? Wait a second.
You got bamboozled.
That's the bait and switch. Like, don't do that. If they don't make it out of this offseason with a significant upgrade in the middle, I will be disappointed. Even if like a Mitch Marner does show up, which, you know, it'll soften the blow, certainly. Don't get me wrong. But I will still think that the roster isn't quite where it needs to be for them to achieve the big and lofty goals that we know they're capable of because they've been knocking on the door for 7 years now. This is what's the Seinfeld thing? The summer of George. This is the summer of getting a center.
The summer of centers.
The summer of centers is what it is, and it starts July 1st.
I think there's so many different options whether you go free agency or trade. Like they know that that's a position of need, and I would be very surprised if they do not do something to address that position. Tulsky, He's always a few moves ahead. He's playing the 4D chess. Like I think he's going to come. It's going to be left field. Like it's going to be somebody we haven't been talking about, somebody we haven't even been discussing, and then the Pierre LeBrun trade notification is going to hit on Twitter or X or whatever it is, and we're all going to be shocked. But I think he's always got some aces up his sleeve. I feel like there's going to be something's going to happen.
I wish we could have like a this is the only way I can describe it. Back when Zion was at Duke, they used to have like the Zion cam where like picture in picture was, even if he was on the bench just like drinking Gatorade, they would just have it on Zion. He was that big of a. I wish somehow we could like play these segments for Eric Tulsky and have the Zion cam on Eric Tulsky, just so when we're talking about it, I want to see the smirk, or I want to see the eye roll. Like I want to see where he's thinking like, hey, give me a minute, all right? I can't do anything till July 1st. Stop complaining about things. We're gonna do it. We just can't right now. Or the opposite, being like, you're such a dummy for thinking that's what we need. I'd love to read the body language of what he's going through. But the kind of the I don't know, the cool part about all of this is, and I'm going to continue to say this until I run out of breath, they can, right? They've been working towards it. Everything Eric Tulsky did with the Mikko and then the letting Mikko go, and everything they did last year, and everything they did with certain players not being extended and the flexibility it gives you, it was all leading towards being able to. Now you have to go execute, right? You have all these chips. They're only as good as what you trade them for or what you spend it on. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. The summer of getting a center for the Carolina Hurricanes, starting July 1st. We have the Dean's List starting in about 2 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Breaking news, and this one is almost unbelievable.
Yeah, it's all about new customers at Bet365 because they get $150 in bonus bets when they bet $5, win or lose. And even better, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, and player props.
There you have it. Bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. And see why. It's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. T&Cs apply. Available in app only.
Is your whole home operating at peak performance? With Newcomb & Company, your independent Trane dealer, proudly serving our community for over 70 years. As a Comfort contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs, including repairs and replacements for faucets, toilets, piping, garbage disposals, water heaters, drain cleaning, and more. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company. Your comfort is our business.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But what if you could get both? Why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge, but it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. And we know this from research of members. There's a lot they like about MediShare, but especially they love being part of something they believe in. And MediShare works, too. It has for more than 30 years. There are hundreds of thousands of members who love having telehealth if they need it. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you could save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or you're part of the gig economy or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE. 855-51-BIBLE.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Go ahead and follow us on YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Subscribe, I should say. I get my my social media terms wrong. Some you subscribe, some you like, some you follow. Subscribe on YouTube, like the videos, comment, and then share them to your friends. Please, is I think the right terminology there. I don't want to sound like I'm 1,000 years old. With that being said, it is time to jump into the Dean's List. Maybe I didn't sound 1,000 years old, but that is how your teachers sounded, right? When they started talking about like social media or something, it's like, oh, you all gonna like the YouTubes and subscribes on the Twitter faces,
on the Insta face or whatever. Who said that? Didn't
that was
Bill Belichick?
It was Belichick. My face. Now he's on all of those. Now he's on Instagram. Now he's posting beach yoga with his girlfriend on Instagram.
He must have some sort of maybe early mid-20s young like social media manager or something. I mean, who knows?
Ghostwriter. We'll start the Dean's List with a little Go ACC here. Louisville is on the Dean's List for right now, bottom of the first. Sorry, what is it? End of the second. Sorry, end of the second. Louisville leads Oregon State 1-0. I believe this is an elimination game out there at the College Baseball World Series. The winner tomorrow plays Coastal Carolina. So you got to win this one by any means necessary to preserve your season. But if possible, you'd like to have some pitchers available for tomorrow. Coastal hasn't lost in 25 games. So Louisville needs to not only win to keep the ACC hopes alive, they're the last team remaining from the conference, but also win and have a little something in the tank for tomorrow. But they're up 1-0, so they're on the Dean's List as we sit. Another ACC baseball team makes the Dean's List. UNC baseball makes the Dean's List. They got a transfer commitment from a certain catcher. His name was Macon Winslow. You may be thinking, oh, he must be really good if just getting a commitment from a transfer catcher gets UNC on the Dean's List. He is. He posted a .278 average last year, 9 home runs, 48 RBIs, 13 doubles, 31 walks as just a sophomore. But here's why you make the Dean's List. They got him from Duke. They got him to walk across town. They got him to jump from the Blue Devils to the Tar Heels. This is becoming way more common. Then Alan Lubin going from UNC basketball to NC State basketball. What was it? Jordan Waters going from Duke football to NC State football. Now we have Macon Winslow going from Duke baseball to UNC baseball. They're which I kind of get. Like, I understand. I don't think I could do it. Like, if I was transferring out of Delaware when I played, I don't know if I could go straight to a rival. But at the same time, if you're transferring out, you probably aren't the most loyal to, like, it probably didn't end on awesome terms, right? Either you didn't think you were getting paid enough now, or you didn't think your role was there, or they weren't developing you. Like, there's happy marriages rarely end in divorce. So if you're leaving, it makes sense if you like the area, especially, my thing always was back when the transfer thing was becoming an issue, schools fought hard to not let transfers stay in conference. It was always like, we'll sign off on your waiver to go wherever you want as long as it's not in our conference. And I remember going, like, I get why, because you don't want somebody on the other sideline that, like, knows all your plays. But at the same time, there's a good chance they chose your school because it's in the conference, because that's close to home, or because their friends and family could come watch them occasionally, and staying in conference regionally usually makes sense. So, like, if you like it in the area, you just don't like the baseball setup, and Duke's getting a new coach, so maybe you're not super confident about it, going to UNC kind of makes sense. And if you want to drive, I don't know, half hour, you could go back to, like, your favorite restaurants and stuff. Like, it's quality. Your friends are still nearby. I don't know, maybe you're dating somebody. They're only across town. But it is still sweet when you are the part of the rival that gets the asset, the player, from the rival.
Just ask Will Wade.
Just ask Will Wade. That's the move. What is it? Forbes, the UNC coach, should come out and say, I don't know, Duke wasn't using this guy right. They're too dumb to use Macon Winslow right. Because that's basically what Will Wade said about the UNC basketball program and Van Allen Lubin. We talked about it yesterday on the show. You can catch it on our YouTube, 99.9 The Fan. Do you have a Dean's List you'd like to throw out here, Max?
I do have a Dean's List. While we're talking about the College World Series, honestly, I'm surprised this wasn't one of yours. Gage Wood, pitcher for Arkansas, threw a 19 strikeout no-hitter in an elimination game against Murray State yesterday. Was absolutely dealing. The only reason it wasn't a perfect game, he lost control of a breaking ball in the 8th inning, hit the guy in the shins, got to first base, but that would end up being the only base runner he allowed. To put in perspective, a 19 strikeout no-hitter in terms of Major League Baseball, most strikeouts in a no-hitter is 17, which is a record shared by Max Scherzer and Nolan Ryan. So very, very dominant performance, and definitely a hat tip for that. And the kid, he was super jacked up.
Yeah.
If you saw the highlights, I think it was the end of the 8th inning. He was just walking off the mound, like screaming, going crazy. It got me excited, and I don't particularly feel strongly about Arkansas or Murray State, but it was really impressive to watch. And my guess is that kid's probably got a Major League Baseball pitching future in him.
Two things I learned about it post. Like, we watched it. It happened live during the show yesterday. We kind of kept you updated on it. Two things. One, after the game, he did go and hug a Murray State player, and I was like, what is going on there? Turns out one of his high school teammates was on Murray State, and they work out every offseason together. What are the chances that one goes to Arkansas, one goes to Murray State, and they end up playing against each other in the College Baseball World Series in Omaha, and then one no-hits the other? So he basically like celebrated with his teammates and was like, yeah, one of my best friend's seasons just ended, so he went over and like consoled them. I'm not sure if I'd want my friend to come over and give me that hug, be like, no, not you, not today. Text me tomorrow. But that's kind of big of him. And two, did you see the post-game interview where they asked him, I don't know the exact question, the on-field reporter, oh my gosh, you just threw a no-hitter, just the third and first one since years. What are you thinking? And he just said, shouldn't hit the guy. That's all I have to say. Because he was being, in some ways, a lovingly baseball hardo.
Oh, yeah.
He just threw one of the best games in college baseball history, and he's lamenting that he hit the guy in the back foot in the 8th inning to ruin the perfecto. Always something to improve on. Always something to get better at. Last one for you, and I'm springing this on Max. Today is National Mascot Day. So I have 2 mascot trivia questions for you.
Okay.
College mascots. This one will start relatively down the middle. What is the most common mascot in NCAA athletics?
It's either Wildcats or Bulldogs. I'll go Wildcats.
Incorrect. Bulldogs.
Tigers.
Bulldogs.
Oh.
you had a 50-50
One
shot
of the 2.
there. Would you like to hear some of them? University of North Carolina Asheville Bulldogs, Yale Bulldogs, South Carolina State Bulldogs, Samford, Mississippi State, Louisiana Tech, Gonzaga, Georgia, Gardner-Webb Running Bulldogs, Fresno State, Drake, the Citadel, Butler, Alabama A&M, amongst others. Next one, this will be our last one here. What is the only female mascot in college sports?
I don't know.
Delaware Blue Hens, baby. Let's go. Hens, female chicken, the only one in all of collegiate athletics.
Although some schools do have a second female mascot that NC State has Mrs. Wolf. What's up, Miss Wolf?
Oh, but this is like the Georgia Bulldogs, not
UGA. Like the team name.
Yeah. Exactly. And some do twist it, like Volunteers for Tennessee. They have the Lady Vols, but officially they're still the Tennessee Volunteers. Except for the Hens. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Let's go ahead and dismiss the Dean's List. Darian Mensah was one of the best quarterbacks in the transfer portal this offseason. He chose Duke. He spoke to On3 about why, and there was something very, very noticeable about his reasoning. And I want to tell you about it. But first, I have to tell you all about Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Bailey's Fine Jewelry, including the Fox and Bailey watch shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location, is perfect for you. Because you're listening to this show, you're probably into sports, right? Well, whatever your sport is, there's a timepiece, a luxury timepiece that matches your passion, right? If you're into golf, you're a weekend hack, or even a scratch golfer that likes taking money from your buddies. Well, how about precision, performance, patience? Well, sounds like a pre-owned or vintage Rolex, or an Omega, that maybe a Speed Master, huh? For all the timing emergencies. I almost said Wilmington. I meant Wimbledon, right? If you're into tennis, if you're out there playing on the grass court, well, how about a Cartier Santos for the sporty sophistication that comes with wearing all white as if you're on the center court, even if you're just at your local country club. Bailey's has a great selection of pre-owned Cartier watches. And if you're into baseball, right, grab a luxury timepiece, something maybe like a durable Hamilton khaki field, right? Sporty, durable, all-American cool. There's scuba watches, diving watches that'll put up a little bit more wear and tear. They have them all and much, much more at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, specifically their Fox and Bailey watch shop located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry in Raleigh's Village District. When you're there, make sure they know you heard about it right here on 99.9 The Fan. Darian Mensah's explanation about why he joined Duke leaves one very specific thing out that I noticed. Stick around.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Hello, Scott Forbes, head baseball coach, University of North Carolina. When it comes to choosing a dealership, I stick with Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. Growing up in Sanford, I've been fortunate to be lifelong friends with Will Wilkinson. My family and I have been buying and having our vehicles serviced at Wilkinson for many, many years. Great service, competitive prices, and most importantly, a place you can trust. Go where I go. Go see my longtime friend Will Wilkinson at Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Welcome to Tuesday, but it's not just a Tuesday, it's a Dinger Tuesday. That's right. That means when you choose your favorite player to go yard, you get a little extra profit sprinkle thanks to our friends at FanDuel. Dinger Tuesdays just make everything more fun because Tuesday's kind of one of those days of the week where, my gosh, we're not quite halfway through yet. FanDuel.com/Adam Gold, FanDuel.com/Adam Gold. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Touch 'em all. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and maximum wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Darian Mensah, new quarterback at Duke. Started at Tulane. Really took kind of the mid-major, or the group of five, I should say, level by storm as a quarterback at Tulane. Young quarterback, not highly recruited. And then he ends up going to Duke in the transfer portal. And almost immediately, numbers were thrown around. CBS Sports reported $4 million per year for Mensah to go to Duke, and that raised some eyebrows. It's cooled down a little bit since then because other players seem to be getting ginormous financial commitments as well, so it's not as much of an outlier. But Mensah finally talked about his decision to transfer to Duke, and something kind of stood out to me. He talked to On3, which is one of the sites that is really in depth into covering the college transfer world. And I'll just read it to you. First of all, this is Mensah on 3 about why he left Tulane to join Duke. It was very tough to leave my home. I was at Tulane for 2 years. Super grateful for that place. It made me who I am today. Definitely not easy to leave all my teammates. Those are my guys. All right, so that's all just now me talking, Tim talking. That's just setting it up. Now we get to the reasons for why he went to Duke. But I wanted to play in a competitive conference like the ACC in the Power Four, and I knew this move would set my family up for financial freedom. Those are some of the things that went into that decision. I feel like Manny, when we met in the portal, he's the kind of guy, when he talks, you listen. I wanted to play for a head coach like him. Now, aside from me stumbling through that quote a few times, I immediately went, wait a second. Something's off. Something's different. Something that's normally there is not there. Later on in the article, he was quoted again. Mensah says, obviously the NIL component was pretty important, but it wasn't the primary focus. The primary focus is to play in the NFL. So I feel like Duke is a place where I can achieve that. During the season, I just let my agent, Noah Reisenfeld, and AD von Gontard, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I feel like they did a phenomenal job keeping me focused on what I needed to during the season. I'm at where I am now, so I'm grateful for them. Here's why that stood out to me. And I don't know if he committed to XYZ football factory. If he committed to Clemson and that's his answer, if he committed to Alabama, Georgia, LSU, and that's his answer, it doesn't stand out. But committing to Duke and that being his answer stood out to me, and here's why. He didn't mention academics. He didn't mention Duke as a prestigious university. He didn't mention the brotherhood. He didn't mention any of that. He chose Duke, it would appear, based on that answer that he gave on 3, because they made the best financial offer, and he thinks it will set him up best for the NFL. That is a big step for the Duke football program. Now, I was not, and I'm going to be clear here, I was not actively recruited by Duke. I wanted to play in the ACC, so you'd know that they got a bunch of my highlight DVDs in a trash bin somewhere back in 2009. But I did go on a one-day camp there. So we drove down to the area, went to the camp, and while I was not being actively recruited, there were those at the camp that were being actively recruited. So when they talked to the entire group, they were really talking to like the 6 of them that had scholarship offers. And do you know what the pitch was? This was right at the beginning of the Cutcliffe era. The pitch was, you're not making a decision for the next 4 years. You're making a decision for the next 40. And you're not making a decision where you're going to go play football. You're making a decision on where you're going to live the next 4 years or 5 years of your life. And you're making a decision on the education. And you're making a decision on everything almost other than football. That was their pitch. That was how they got players to commit. It was almost like, sure, you could have better football experiences elsewhere, but if football doesn't work out, you're going to really like that Duke degree. Mensah's saying, no, I came here because you're paying me a lot of money, which shows Duke has a commitment to football, right? They're not trying to get by with name recognition and, yeah, we can't afford as much NIL, but it's really fun in the offseason to go sit with the crazies. Like, they're not trying to get by on that. They're paying top dollar, and there's the expectation you can go play in the pros. Right? Daniel Jones was picked 6th overall. Even somebody like Riley Leonard, who did transfer to Notre Dame for a year, but I don't think he played any better from increasing his draft stock at Notre Dame, gets drafted, right? There's NFL realistic opportunities at a Duke. Mensah was also quoted in the piece, the On3 article, saying, I spoke to a bunch of programs, my agents did for me. Thinking of Duke as the top name at first, for sure, I'd say, was a little bit surprising. But I did my research, because that's a pretty big decision. And after doing my research, this was the best opportunity for me to get to where I want. Again, even he's saying, like, I don't know about Duke football, but once I looked into it, I thought, yeah, it'll get me to the NFL. That is huge. That is massive. That's when, like, if somebody, and by the way, Mensah, at the time he committed, was, I think, number 1 or number 2 quarterback in the portal, right? And it's hard to judge, like, entire cycles because as players go in the portal and come out of the portal, they go, like, on the transfer rankings and off the transfer rankings. So, you know, he was out by the time some other guy hit the portal. Who knows? He's a top 5 quarterback in the portal. Top 5 in a recruiting cycle in the portal, which means teams looking for right now starters, he had options. I don't know if he was, could name his blue blood and just go walk into a starting job. He's not going to unseat someone else that's established, but he had options and he chose Duke, which is great, right? And part of you, if you're a Duke football fan or just a football fan in the Triangle, and you understand that it's more entertaining when all 3 ACC programs in the area are good, part of you probably wants to go like, I don't care how they did it. I'm just happy they did. But the next step is, all right, let's watch the film, right? How did we get Darian Mensah to commit here? And how can we duplicate that with other really, really good players in the future? And is there something there that maybe we haven't been highlighting enough? Darian Mensah thinks this place, meaning Duke football, gives him the most money and the best chance at the NFL, I'll be darned. That's where you start the pitch for the next transfer or recruiting quarterback that you have. That's position A. Now, once you get to know the player, if you find out that they are super academically inclined and you think that what Duke has to offer on campus life is equally as important, then you can also add that in. But I'll tell you right now, even the smart kids, and this is I don't know, maybe an issue with society, but I'm just telling you how it is, not how it should be. Even the smart kids, if you're a 4-star or above, it's at least 60-40. You're using the sport to choose the school over the academics. Again, maybe that's not the right way to do it because, every year there's X amount of NCAA athletes and most of them are going to go pro in something other than sports. Like maybe it's not the best, but that's just how it is. I'll tell another quick recruiting story just to hammer home that point. After I had committed to Delaware, I was committed as a preferred walk-on. They had all of the recruits to the spring game, right? So we had already done our official visits. Like some of us knew each other. They bring us all in. And before the spring game, they had all the recruits and their parents in a big, like in the team meeting room where you watch film as a team. And the coach gave a little speech. We're so happy to have you here. Welcome to the family, right? You're going to have a barbecue before the game, and then players can be on the field watching. Parents will give you your seats. And woo, go Blue Hens. And there was one mom, and I know who her son is and ended up playing with us. Mom raised her hand and said, we got the packet of what do they call it? Orientation material, and we're excited for the fall. But it did say that the football team will assign your dorm with a football roommate. My son is in the super duper advanced, ultra advanced engineering program, and there's an engineering honors dorm that he wants to go be a part of. And first of all, that's awesome. And that guy, he ended up being extremely intelligent, and it was very good for him to go chase academics as much as he chased sports. Don't get me wrong. But when I tell you every recruit in the place looked around like, what is it? This guy doesn't want to be in the football dorms. He wants to be in the engineering dorms. Whoa. Looking back, it's like, no, actually, he made a really good decision. But at that point in time, you can't see beyond, I'm going to go play in the NFL. So if Darian Mensah is looking at the NFL stuff and ending up at Duke, that is a huge feather in the cap for Duke. Huge, huge feather in the cap for Duke. And I can't think of many times, maybe when Spurrier was there decades ago, I can't think of many times, maybe Cutcliffe when he had the Manning thing where they were coming back every year. Like there were maybe flashes in Duke history where top-level prospects would think it can help me get to the NFL. But, $3-4 million plus the NFL, that's going to get you some pretty darn impressive players. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Coming up next, we have football at 4. The Panthers are talking different. They're a little bit more confident than they usually are. Is that a good thing? Next.
It's bow time. Yep, it's eating time again. Now you could unload groceries, chop, dice, mince, preheat, heat, slap around the smoke detector, and then celebrate with a big old pile of dishes. But if you're tired of cooking, or tired of sorta cooking, it's time to feed the whole family with Bojangles Fried Chicken Family Meal. With Bojangles' famous chicken, fixins, biscuits, and tea, you can forget the cookbook and spend some well-earned quality time with a delicious dinner from Bojangles. It's bow time.
There's no time like bow time. Time to stop whatever you're doing for some of that bodacious Bojangles flavor. Satisfy your craving for flavor and your passion for boneless chicken with Bojangles 4-piece Supremes Dinner. 4 perfectly seasoned, Cajun-fried, whole breast tenderloin fillets. Choice of fixin', a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, and Bojangles' legendary iced tea. When you're hungry for flavor and value, it's bow time.
Are you ready for a global summer showdown? Tuesday, June 24th at Bank of America Stadium. Football legends collide at the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. Benfica, and Bayern Munich. Angel Di Maria and Nicolas Otamendi taking on Harry Kane and Joshua Kimmich. Don't miss your chance to be part of history. Grab your tickets now at FIFA.com/tickets.
Need CPAP supplies fast? I'm Brandon Giggling, president of Parkway Sleep Health Centers, and we are the Triangle's top sleep provider, offering quick access to the equipment you need for better sleep. Get the right supplies right when you need them. With over 20 years of experience, our expert team is here to help you sleep better, sooner.
Discover why so many trust Parkway Sleep Health Centers for better sleep. Visit parkwaysleep.com now and start your journey to a healthier night's sleep. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep. Sound health.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. It is a steamy afternoon out there. A high of 93, but feeling more like around 100. With the heat index, a few isolated storms late today. 76 overnight tonight, and tomorrow partly cloudy and hot with a high of 95. Feeling more like 102 to 103 with the heat index and a small chance for thunderstorms.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 302 points to 42,212.
Let's move the chains. Time for Football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for Football at 4. And the Panthers are talking about the Super Bowl. With a straight face. There's no jokes here. And I like that. Even if I don't think it's a possibility, even if I don't think that they will or really could with their current roster actually win the Super Bowl, I think it is a good turning point for the team to start talking about it. Now, there's two quotes that brought this to my attention. One is, they're both in the Charlotte Observer, so shout out to them. One came from Chuba Hubbard, right, the running back who burst onto the scene last year and finished with a new contract and the last 2 weeks off. Little boo-boos and owies down the stretch. Chuba said, if the goal isn't to make the playoffs and win a Super Bowl, you're selling yourself short. So that's always been the goal. That's the goal this year, and I think we're the closest we've ever been. End of quote. So I saw that quote first, and I went, okay, he's half doing the thing. And you all know the thing, right? Where somebody says something outlandish or something ridiculously arrogant, and then they dial it back with, by the way, I think every athlete should think that way, right? You talk to like Carmelo Anthony, right? Or you talk to, I don't know why I picked Carmelo, but just any like legendary Hall of Fame basketball player who's nowhere near the GOAT conversation, like the true greatest of all time, and you ask them who's the greatest player of all time, and they go, me. But if I asked any player in the NBA, I'd want them to say me, because that's how you have to think and that's how you have to work. And I'm going like, okay, so you're even admitting you know it's not true. You're just admitting that's the way you like to think. So Chuba Hubbard saying, right, the goal is to make the playoffs, win a Super Bowl. That's always the goal. You're selling yourself. And I'm going like, all right, he's partly doing the thing where he's like, I get to say Super Bowl, but you know, I think if you go to talk to any of the 32 teams in the league, they should all be saying Super Bowl. Okay, well, that's not the same. But that last bit, I think we're the closest we've ever been. It's like, wait a second, that got real. That's not what everybody says, right? Because not everybody's going to say they're closer this year than last year. Some had super important players retire or leave, and they got to wait on young guys, and they might not be sure. So I went, okay, file that one away. Then Adam Thielen, the next quote. I think that guys are finally sick of being the same old Carolina Panthers. I think we want to get back to what they did here in the past in 2015. Now, the quote that I read explained this in parentheses. I'll explain it for you. 2015 is where they went to the Super Bowl. As the Cam Newton MVP year, that's when they went to the Super Bowl. Back to the quote. And some of those other years when they had deep playoff runs and had the crowd involved and the city hyped up, we haven't had that. They're talking about being significantly better, and they're talking about Super Bowl appearances, and they're doing so with a straight face. Now, part of me is that Carmelo Anthony thing I just talked about, right? Part of me is it's always good from the players to have high and lofty expectations because they are ridiculously competitive people, right? And I'm sure part of them, especially guys like Thielen, who knows how many times they have left, how many years they have left, right? He's already the oldest wide receiver in the league by multiple years. Like, if he can't win it all, it's kind of Ricky Bobby, right, from Talladega Nights. If you ain't first, you're last. So you better think you have a chance at going all the way. But also, and I've said this, and I think it's one of my themes for this year for the Carolina Panthers, is it's finally time to start going all out and seeing how far you can make it. It's finally time to go out there and actually test what your roster can do. I almost equate it to like a boxer, but a young boxer. And this is, again, Max, just the analogies off the top of the dome today. But like if you watch any of the Rocky movies or if you watch Creed, right, any of the real that universe of movies, there's always the boxer that wants to go get a fight. Right? When am I going to get a fight? When am I going to see a heavyweight? When am I going to fight a contender? When am I going to? And the trainer is always going like, "Whoa, relax, you're not ready. Let's spar. All right, let's go fight a community fight. Let's spar. Let's hit the bag. You're not ready. Let's spar. Let's spar." And then eventually it's like, "All right, we're going to see what you got now. I booked you a fight for 6 months from now. Meet me here at the gym every morning at 4 a.m." Right? And then everything ramps up because now you're going for it. Now you're going to test yourself. To me, the past 3 years, I mean, definitely since they moved on from Matt Rule, but probably even the end of Matt Rule, those years were kind of the training. And it's like, I really want to know what I can do. And you're like, no, we're going to play the young guys. We're gonna see what they have. We're going to try to stockpile some picks, right? We're going to try to kind of feel our way through it. You're not ready yet. You're not. And by the way, the trainers aren't like protecting the health of boxers. They're protecting the confidence, and they're protecting the record, and they're protecting everything else. Maybe the health a little bit because it's boxing, but you don't want to put somebody out there to get throttled and then all of a sudden their confidence is shot. This is the year where it's like, all right, let's see. I'll get you a fight. And you don't know how a team reacts until, right, the Mike Tyson thing, right? Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Like you got to go get punched in the mouth to see what this team can do. The best thing for the future, finally, is to win games and learn how to play meaningful games and win meaningful games and be in the mix in the second half of the season. And don't worry about your draft pick and don't worry about all of those things because most of it's already in place. At least you hope so. You got to go find out. So then it got me thinking, right? I'm now in this like all systems go. It's why I think they should kick the tires on players like Justin Simmons. It's why they should kick the tires on players like Jair Alexander who are still in free agency at positions of need. And they are veterans that probably are looking for short-term prove-it deals because you're going for it now. That doesn't mean I think they're going to win the division, but I think they should go all out to try to win the division. And I'm talking about from a roster building standpoint. Obviously, players and coaches have always tried to win every game. So then I'm looking at the Thielen quote, and he's talking about 2015. And I'm thinking about what this year could be. And in the handful of years before each of the Panthers Super Bowl appearances, right, going all the way back to the whatever year it was in the early 2000s that they lost to the Patriots and the Cam Newton year, there was kind of a 7-9 season a year before. I think it was 3 or 4 years before. There was this 7-9 season where it almost felt like that was the foundation, right? It was they weren't quite ready because obviously they're still below 500. They weren't quite ready to mix it up with the big dogs, but it was an improvement on the couple of years before. And when you're 7-9, you're probably playing meaning games where you're not mathematically eliminated a bit farther into the season than you are when you win 5 or when you win 2 for sure. And then and a lot of times the core was already kind of intact. You already had your quarterback, or at least in the Cam Newton situation you did, or you had everything but the quarterback and you just needed Delhomme, right? Like you had a lot of the core together, and you had to go, for lack of a better term, like figure out how good the good guys are. You had to go test your mettle and go, all right, what we did this year wasn't good enough, but we're close. But we were in the mix. But if we did this different and we found, because, let's be real, the last couple of seasons, even if they found 2 or 3 more wins, they still aren't making the playoffs, right? Even if, at the end of that game it went different, they still aren't making the playoffs. You win 7 out of 9, which with one extra game, you're thinking probably 8 and 9, right? That's kind of 9 and 8 maybe is what you're looking at. Like if you get there, you are going like, hey, if we had 2 more good plays in the fourth quarter, we got 11 wins. We're knocking on the door of the wild card, maybe winning the division. That everything changes. So I want Chuba Hubbard and Adam Thielen and the leaders in that locker room talking about going to win a Super Bowl. I want it to hurt real bad when they don't. In years past, right, season ended. This past year season ended, it felt great. Their best game at the last of the year, right? The Bryce established himself as the quarterback. It was great news at the end of the season as they went to the non-playoff world of golf and fishing. Like, I want it to sting when they don't make the playoffs this year, even if I think they don't make the playoffs, because they talked about winning a Super Bowl.
This is the first year, I think, where that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, last year with the way it started, you didn't even really get much of an opportunity to get your hopes up because right out of the gate. And then 2 seasons ago, again, with Bryce's rookie year, just never really got off the ground. This is the first season where I feel like it makes a lot of sense for them to have higher expectations for themselves. And if you realistically have the expectation of, okay, we're going to be a competitive playoff team, once you've reached that level, your goal should be the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to go, your goal at the beginning of the season is not, let's go to the playoffs and lose in the divisional round. Once you know you're good enough to get there, your goal should be to go all the way and win the Super Bowl. So, I like it. It definitely inspires confidence for the fans and for the team. And, hopefully they'll continue to show that arc of progress that they were showing, especially late in last season.
It's the first year in a long time that I think you should be allowed to get your hopes up. Every other year I've been a wet blanket. I've been, everyone talking about this. No, I don't think so. Be happy with 6 or 7 wins. No. This year, get your hopes up. Now, I will say this. I think you'll be disappointed, but I think that's part of the rise, right? I think that's part of the rise. If we were sitting here covering the Cleveland Browns, and I don't know who's out there. Is Amari Cooper still out there? If Jerry Jeudy stepped to a microphone and said, hey, we're thinking Super Bowl, the sports radio, I would giggle. I would laugh. And that's no disrespect to Jerry Jeudy. I think he's a good receiver, but that team isn't ready to win. The Carolina Panthers, I'm not giggling in your face. I'm probably going ooh, they're a little over their skis, but good, right? Good. I'm telling a lot of old stories today, but I've told this one a bunch. It's one of my favorite. The year, and we lost in the national championship. But the year we made it to the national championship at Delaware in the summer, my guy Ty Grant, he was one of our captains, had a cup of coffee in the NFL, ended up breaking, after a run, 6 a.m. run in the summer, all hands on, hands in, on 3, he said championship, 1, 2, 3 championship. And our head coach heard it and came running over and screamed at us about not going 1-0 today. And you just got to win the drill, and you got to win hydration before today and tomorrow's workout, and championship. What have you done to talk about a championship? And we heard it all. And then coach walked away. And while he was still in earshot, Ty said, all right, everybody, bring it in again. And he said, bleep that. We're talking championship on 3, 1, 2, 3, championship. Coach did not turn around, kept walking. And that was easily the best culture of football I've ever played in my entire life. And I went, okay, cool. And we lost in the national championship. We were up 19-0 at half. We don't have to talk about it. But that was easily the best culture and locker room that I played in. So if the Panthers want to go ahead and do that, I'm fine with it. That doesn't mean they're going to go ahead and make it there, just like it didn't mean we won it. But it did mean our culture was all striving in the same direction. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I challenge Max to a one-on-one ladder challenge when we come back, and we hit some copper drop. Don't go anywhere.
Champions are crowned in June. The NBA Finals.
2.5 left. Gilgeous-Alexander on top of the arc. Squares, fires, hits, and Oklahoma City takes the lead.
The Stanley Cup Finals.
And Marchand comes the other way on a break and scores. He beat 2 different defenders and then beat Cal Pickard. It's 3-0 Panthers.
The U.S. Open and the College World Series. Your home for championship action all month long. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports leader.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again. At work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ALL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ALL to 321-321. That's all to 321-321.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it'd go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. So I didn't get a chance to gloat about where it stands with the ladder challenge against Dennis yesterday because we had a Monday sound off and we got carried away. I did pick Brad Marchand for a first goal scorer in the last Stanley Cup final. And as I say often on this show, we are about accountability. So if you call in with a prediction, if you call in or all hockey season, all Canes hockey season, we do first goal scorer predictions. Even if you aren't in it officially for the prize, we still encourage you to gloat and sound off, if you will, if you get it right. So that was a nice little turn, my $10 into 190. It was plus 1,900, and he actually scored again. So like everything I had about that game from a Marchand standpoint ended up being right. So I'm gloating on that one, and we're going to take a break from Dennis and I competing against each other in the month of June for a little one-day ladder challenge between Max and myself. Same format we've done every time we have a fill-in producer, whether it's Max, whether it's Graham, whether it's whoever. You get 3 $10 bets. Whoever has the most money tomorrow is the winner. You get 3 $10 bets. Whoever has the most money tomorrow is the winner. You can, if you so choose, like for those of you that play spades out there, you can go nil. You can not place a bet if you want and guarantee yourself at least $10. You could go 3-0 and guarantee yourself 30. But then, obviously, if I come back with more than that, I win.
That makes for great radio when you just don't make any picks for your pick segment.
It would be you betting against me. So you would be making a bet. It just wouldn't be yourself. You'd be saying
just me betting that you're going to be wrong.
You'd be saying that I'm going to lose money. So if you want to call me out, I encourage it. You want to talk that kind of trash, I encourage it. With that being said, we'll go 1-1-1-1. So you go ahead and lead off as the new guy. What's your first $10 bet?
I will lead off, but before that, I will note we did a mini ladder challenge last week. I think I went 2 for 3 and you went 1 for 3. I had a Red Sox money line in there as well as Rory McIlroy over 72.5 in the first round of the U.S. Open. Those hit. And I believe your one, you had the Halliburton assists over in whatever NBA Finals game that was. That probably wasn't
big enough payout to win, was it?
No, it was not.
All right, well, I'm getting my get back today.
So we'll have accountability, like you said. Just want to letting everybody know, I won that last one. Anyways, on to this mini ladder challenge. I used this pick in the last one. There was some news with this team in the recent week when they traded away their best hitter. The Red Sox are back in action tonight, playing the Seattle Mariners. Red Sox won last night. They won, I believe, 6 in a row. As a Red Sox fan, that brings me great joy. I will be taking the Red Sox once again on the money line, minus 118.
I'm just going to let you know, I'm trying to ride the first goal scorer thing. So I have 3 first goal scorers here. At best, I will have one of them right, but they're all good enough payout that I'd like my odds.
Yeah, you'd be in a huge lead.
I'm going Sam Bennett is my first as a first goal scorer. The guy scored 1 billion goals, and the Panthers have gotten on the board first in darn near all of these games. So I like, and he gets, deflections. He's he can score a bunch of different ways, and it's just a hot hand bet. It's plus 1,300, and he's trying to boost his free agency payout. I can only imagine, what does he have, 15 goals this postseason? 16 just sounds like, way more money in free agency. And in one that could be in a potential closeout game, yeah, I'm going to try to turn my $10 into 140 with Sam Bennett on the first goal scorer.
16 goals, that's one for every win you need in the postseason.
How crazy would that be?
All right.
And it'd be one thing if Sam Bennett was like Austin Matthews or something, and
yeah.
But no, it's no disrespect to Sam Bennett. He had 51 points this year, and that was like
high.
Yeah, that's a high water mark, and then he has that postseason. I'm trying to ride the hot hand.
I'll be going to the Stanley Cup final game tonight as well. Game 6 in Florida.
You're going?
No.
Oh. I was like, you got to leave
pick.
Now. What are you talking about?
No, for my pick, I'm going to go to it. Like we said earlier, big spot for Connor McDavid. There's a lot of chatter about his legacy and stuff like that. I think he's going to show up in a big way. I will go with Connor McDavid 2+ points, plus 102. So $10 nets.
All right.
$20.20.
This is a bit defensive here. I have Connor McDavid first goal scorer. So if he has his 2 points, but one of them is a first goal scorer, he's only plus a grand, plus 1,000. So it'll be 10 turning into 110. But I said this earlier, I do want to see him be just like selfish and aggressive and look for his own shot. And he's obviously wildly talented. So I think if he gets an opportunity early to strike first, he's kind of the best chance for the Oilers to start hot. So give me Connor McDavid first goal scorer.
For the last one, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. and I'm double checking here. I believe this is actually hit in every game of the series. Sticking with Stanley Cup Final, I'm just going to go with over 6.5 goals plus 108. It has been every single game has had at least 7 goals total, so feels pretty good with that one. A lot of the best offensive players in the league. Stuart Skinner in net for the Oilers. You never know what you're going to get. So I'm going to go with over 6.5 goals plus 108.
Before I started the little theme here with first goal scorers, I did have over 6.5 written down as a potential, because it just seems like somebody's going to get up 3 and somebody's going to come back from 3 down, and there you go. There you're pretty much there. Last one, I have Alexander Barkov, first goal scorer. I think he's due. He's due to get on the board early. He's plus 1,600, which seems crazy for a player like Barkov. I know he's doing a lot defensively. He's carrying a lot of the weight, kind of grinding some of the Oilers' best players down on the two-way side of the ice. But plus 1,600, I felt like I had to take it. So 10 would turn into 170. If any of those hit, I'm feeling pretty confident. And
yeah, you just need to go 1 for 3, and you've got me.
And obviously only one.
In a blender.
Only one can get right. So that's the goal, trying to pepper the board. So when some like Cole scores first, I'm going to be like, or Jones, sorry. When Jones scores, I'm going to go, yeah, you'll hear me all over the triangle screaming. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. We will track that. Next time Max is on the show, we'll talk about it. And if I hit one of them, you'll hear me gloat tomorrow. With that being said, let's jump from the ladder challenge to a little copper drop. All right, copper drop. This is where Max today throws what he's hearing, predictions, guesses, movements, however he wants to word it, and I tell you whether I'm copping or dropping. You'll catch on. What are we copping or dropping today, Max?
Well, we'll stay on topic for, what was that, 5 out of our 6 ladder challenge picks right there. Game 6, Stanley Cup Final tonight. Lord Stanley in the building as the Panthers host the Oilers with a 3-2 series lead. Chance to go back-to-back as Stanley Cup champions. Stuart Skinner in the starters crease for the Oilers. A lot of goaltending controversy there. So just go copper drop. Panthers close out the Oilers tonight and repeat as champions.
It is absolutely fascinating that a team has an absolutely must-win game. Like, you lose, your season's over, and like the entire country of Canada mourns, and your best players go back into legacy talk jail. Like, it's a massive game, and it seems like they really don't have an obvious option at goal. Like, that's crazy to me that you don't have. It's almost, you ready for this cheesy Instagram quote? This is like, I don't know. You're probably too young for instant messenger. But you used to have away messages, and people would put real deep stuff there, and it was like song lyrics and stuff. But one, like I almost want to do this with like Knobloch or whoever's making the decision for the Oilers. It's like, if you have a really tough decision to make, flip a coin. Not to let the heads or tails decide, but because when it's in the air, you'll know what your heart is hoping for. Like, who is going to be in goal is a very much like, you are either going to love this decision or you will regret it for a very long time. So you better like go with your gut, right? Because if you talk yourself out of what you're really thinking and it doesn't work, you're never going to forgive yourself. In the interest of entertainment and in the interest of, I've been saying 7 games for a long time, I think the Oilers, with their backs against the wall, find a way. But they might have to go score, right? I don't know if there'll be a very confident goalie in there. I don't even know which one I would lean on. Probably Skinner. I don't know. But there's got to be a little wavering of your confidence when your coach is like, I don't know, we'll pick someone. Someone will put on the pads. And I'm guessing it's going to be a quick leash, which is never great. So yeah, give me the Oilers, but like 5-4 or something crazy like that. Maybe 5-4 in overtime, because they seem to only win in overtime. And that's the way it has to be with how shaky they are.
I think it's going to be a good one. I mean, the Oilers got to be more motivated than ever, pretty much, to go out there and put out a good performance. So I'll go with you on that as well and say the Oilers will win. Let's keep it on the ice here. So Olympic hockey rosters are starting to be released ahead of the 2026 games in Milan Cortina. Each nation has revealed the first 6 players on their respective rosters. As far as Canes players go, so far it's Sebastian Aho for Finland and Fredrik Andersen in net for Denmark. So cop or drop, Canes will have 5 or more players playing in the Olympics.
5 or more. Okay, so Russia is not allowed in, right? So
yes, Russia will not be competing.
That eliminates certain players. I believe Jarvis will be on Team Canada. He was there for the Four Nations Cup, and I believe we were talking about it the other day. The Olympics has larger rosters than even the Four Nations Cup. So even if he was on the bubble, because he was a healthy scratch for at least one game, I believe he gets in. And I believe he's better now than he was then. So there's one. Slavin gets in. That's, again, I said it the other day. He's like the Slavin way is to not be one of the 6 named first as like the sizzle, oh, look at this, but then to lead the team in ice time after being named to the full roster. So he's in. Freddie's in. Aho's in. It's 4. Can we find another is the question.
That's I was trying to set the line that's such.
So here's my next question. Are we talking about current Canes or Canes that are on the team next year?
That can all be part of the
okay, then I think
theory.
I think the Canes this offseason bring in a player who is on a Four Nations Cup contract. Who was on an Olympic roster. I don't know what Four Nations Cup contract is. If it's Marner, obviously, I believe he'd be on it. If it's there's a bunch of different options there. And who else could sneak on there?
Stankoven, maybe?
Stanky, perhaps. I mean, he'd have to.
It's a breakout season for him next year. If
he does, let's get the Canes to sign him to a long-term extension right now. Because if he breaks out in that kind of way, then he'll be much more expensive next offseason. I'm trying to think if there's anyone on the blue line. Probably not. Now I'm going to go with one of the new guys. That's my official stance. The 4 that I mentioned, and someone they signed this offseason. There's 5. Coppin.
All right. I agree as well, whether it is someone who's currently on the roster or somebody they bring in this offseason. I think they'll get to 5.
Who's currently on the roster that you think is? I feel like I'm missing.
I think Stankoven might have the best chance out of everybody we didn't mention. Obviously,
it did feel like I was forgetting.
Yeah,
someone.
Obviously, Svechnikov, Nikishin, Kochetkov, they can't because of everything going on with Russia, and maybe Taylor Hall is a veteran, but I don't know if I think it's a little bit past his time. He's still a great player, but when you are selecting the best of the best to go to the Olympics, he's kind of a casualty of the players that missed out on NHL going to the Olympics for 12 years. So
agreed, 100%.
Missed out on his Hart season. So let's go back to the Diamond. Let's go College World Series. Action continuing in Omaha today. Like you said earlier, we're watching the Louisville, Oregon State game that's going on. It's been a thrilling tournament so far. We also mentioned Gage Wood throwing a no-hitter yesterday in the elimination game against Murray State. But the hottest team in the country right now is Coastal Carolina, running a 25-game win streak into Omaha. Haven't lost there yet either. So cop or drop, the Chanticleers will win the College World Series for their 2nd national championship.
I have to be honest here, and I've made this reference a few times. We had Darren Vaught, ACC baseball, etc. podcast. He's covered baseball of really a bunch of different levels for a long time. Friend of the station. We had him on the show, and he started casually talking. It was when UNC was in the Super Regional, and he started casually talking about how there are parachuting fans, he called them, that don't really pay attention during the regular season. They parachute in and become really invested, even with maybe not all of the knowledge and experience with the teams once the postseason starts. And as he was saying it, I was thinking in my head, does he know that's us? Because we didn't really talk about college baseball until the College Baseball World Series. As much as we wanted to, there's a bunch of other sports going on during the regular season. So I will not pretend to know, how good LSU baseball is this year. But Coastal's they've, as a program, they've done it before. If they get hot at the right time, I think many would have thought they had peaked too early when they won 14 consecutive games in the regular season, but they've just kept it rolling, and they're 25 straight games now. Yeah, I mean, I obviously I'm Team Louisville just because they're ACC and I want the ACC to thrive. But if I weren't regionally or professionally affiliated with any conference, how do you not root for Coastal Carolina to try to go mix it up with the big dogs? The only thing I wish they did, and I don't think they do, is I think they should have the teal field in baseball. They have teal field in football.
That'd
Like,
be cool.
make it your brand. Does Boise have a blue baseball field? If they don't,
I
they
don't
should.
think so.
Eastern Washington, a red baseball field. Like, let's get crazy. If you're gonna be crazy, let's get crazy. Although that might change. Like baseball, you need to have better vision out there. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it would. Teal is pretty much green. No, go teal with the baseball field, Coastal. If you win the national championship, you get all that money. Go ahead and go teal with the baseball field.
Get some turf so your coach doesn't have to mow your field like Murray State's.
Murray State's coach. Is he still Murray State's coach?
I don't believe he's been hired somewhere else yet.
I imagine
it's only been a day.
There are those that can beat the $68,000 he's making. And he just took a team to the Final 8 in Omaha, so I believe they'd be willing to pay that. So we'll see what happens there. But, yes, give me Coastal to win it all.
All right,
let's
cop
go
in the
Chanticleers.
Absolutely. All right, let's shift gears here. Let's go to the NBA. So we've got the NBA draft here in about a week. It's a week from tomorrow on Wednesday. ESPN just released their latest mock draft today from Jonathan Givony and Jeremy Woo. Picks 1 and 2 have been pretty consistent across pretty much any mock draft you see. It's Cooper Flagg 1, Dylan Harper 2. But someone who's garnered a lot of buzz after that is Con Knipple from Duke. ESPN's latest mock draft today has him going to the Hornets at 4. So cop or drop, Con Knipple will be a top 5 pick in the NBA draft.
Top 5 it's again a good number. The draft starts at 3. From everything I've heard, there is like the top 2 are a long way from everybody else, and then Cooper is a long way out by himself. 3, which is the Sixers pick, could be a bunch of different things. VJ Edgecombe, I believe, is who has ESPN has there. We saw him up close and personal at the Lenovo Center for the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament for Baylor. He by the way is an unbelievable athlete. Springs, like just a leaper, and he can shoot, and he's a really good player. I don't see him going 3. I don't see Con going 3. For a long time, it was the other Rutgers guy, but he's apparently unwilling to work out for anybody.
Yeah, he's been sliding down a lot of boards apparently because they refuse to interview or work out for like almost any team.
So I wonder if that doesn't mean that he has like a low-key promise from the top 3, because why would you not work out for like the 4th picking team in the NBA draft even if you think you're going 3? Like you gotta be careful with that. Con Knipple to me, I think he's, and I've said this from right after the season, I think he's 7 to 9. He has risen a ton since the end of the season, but I don't like to change my opinions based on workouts that I can't watch. So I'm going to say I'm dropping him in the top 5. I think he's 7 to 9, and that'll probably put him in a better spot, right? I mean, the Hornets, I'm not sure that's the best place for a guy to go develop. 4th overall would be cool, though. So, we'll see. But no, I don't think he's top 5.
Would be 2 top 5 picks for Duke as well.
It would be.
Me, I mean, I share some season tickets actually for the Hornets with a couple buddies. Our
really?
Group chat has been back and forth pretty much since the lottery about who they want to get, who we think we're going to get. I'm good with VJ Edgecombe or Knipple at 4, honestly. I think those 2 are the guys. Some of the pre-draft stuff with Bailey has been a little bit concerning.
Apparently he's a lights-out shooter, though.
And then there's just, I don't know, there's nobody else that's really jumping off the page. But the shooting for Knipple is really something that's appealing to me.
The hard part for me is I watch so much college basketball. And I'm not like apologizing for this, but I don't watch all the international prospects. So I really just go with like the mock drafters. I'm like, oh, sure, that guy must be good because everybody has him in the top 6. So it's hard. Like in the NFL draft, I watch everybody, right? Because it's college football and they play once a week and you can kind of get a feel for everybody. So I have an opinion on everything. In the NBA draft, there's a lot of like, I don't know. Then there's that kid from France, right? Which
is ironically, that's what the Hornets did in the draft last year and kind of reached for Tijon Salon at 6, and he did not have the best rookie year.
It wasn't the best draft overall last year. But yeah, I'm dropping it, but I'm trying to think of who else he would go there.
There maybe some people have said Malawach because the Hornets maybe could use a center, but I feel like that's even more of a reach than taking Knipple at 4.
You have Mark Williams. You already got one Duke center. How many Duke centers do you need?
Exactly, and then they got to sort through everything that happened with the aftermath of the trade, getting rescinded last year. So
Yeah, obviously, he's not going anywhere. No one else is going to accept him, I guess.
Definitely think the pick is somewhere like you want a wing player, a good defender, a shooter, and I think VJ and Knipp will both kind of fit that mold. So I think you can't go wrong with either one of them.
And in person, VJ was a better athlete, like springier, noticeable, a little bit shorter than I thought. I think he was listed at 6'5", but Khan was listed at 6'7". Neither of those guys were that tall.
VJ's really more like 6'4", and Knipp probably not at 6'7" either. So,
No.
But they can both shoot and both have some good defensive acumen. So both things the Hornets need. All right, we'll go one more here.
All right.
Last one.
Let's do it.
So we're in the modern age of college athletics. We're seeing transfers at a crazy rate. Athletes going from one school to like local rivals. We saw Van Allen Lubin go from UNC to NC State. We saw UNC pick up the Duke catcher, Macon Winslow from Duke. And then we had a viral moment here a couple days ago. 5-star LSU commit Tristan Keys in football. Committed to LSU. Took his official visit to Tennessee, and there's video gone viral. They roll out the carpet. He runs out into the locker room in the full Tennessee orange.
I did see this, yes.
There's like a massive crowd of people in there cheering for him, and he's dancing around. All this to say, cop or drop, loyalty in college athletics is completely dead.
I don't know about that one. I will say that is as much like when I was being recruited, I was not taking a bunch of official visits, but the top recruits did like commit places and then still take all 5 of their official visits because it basically is an awesome experience. And schools would still have them because they were good enough that it's like, hey, maybe we could swing them. Official visits back in the day used to be you were with the coach touring facilities and stuff and academics during the day, and then at night you'd go with your host player on the team and you'd go to parties and you'd have a good time. So they'd have a blast, right, for 3 nights or whatever it was. Now official visits are like photo shoots, and you get in the full outfit, the full rundown. You get all the gear, and you get the visor and the arm sleeve, and you take the pictures, and you do the thing and the stuff. So, like, I think that would have been happening back in the day. You really, and you didn't back then either, you didn't know who you had until they signed. So you might say, like, loyalty is leaving college sports. I would say loyalty was really never there in college sports, but you were handcuffed to organization. Like, you couldn't transfer. Like, there would have been transfers from Duke to UNC, from UNC to State, from State to Duke. There would have been transfers if the transfer portal was open back then. Matter of fact, that's probably part of the appeal. Like, I know, again, I'm telling a lot of my old, I feel like Uncle Rico or something talking about the glory days. You used to be able to transfer down, right? So you could transfer from 1A to 1AA or 1AA to 2 division without sitting out. Like we used to have, we were 1AA, and every year we played Westchester, a Division II team, like at the beginning of the year. They were our tune-up game. They were like our version of an FCS game for a 1A team. And we had a bunch of guys that would transfer from Delaware to Westchester because they wanted to get another crack at the coaches, right? Because they were unhappy with the way things went. So they would transfer there so they could show back up and show them what they're really made of. And the same thing would happen. It didn't really happen much when I was there because we didn't play a ton of 1A games. But we would have 1A players that would transfer to us in Delaware if that meant they were going to get to play their old team at some point in the next couple of years. So, yeah, transferring to a rival would have happened back then. You just weren't allowed to. So you can be mad about loyalty not being around in college sports anymore, but I don't know if it was ever really there. It's just players weren't allowed to make decisions for themselves, so they couldn't show their disloyalty. They kind of had to stick it out and try to win the job. That's a little copper drop here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. We have a feedback frenzy coming up, so our guy Max will be gathering all of the comments from online, all of your feedback, and we'll be bringing them on air. But first, I want to tell you all about Miller Lending. Miller Lending and Gordon Miller have been doing something called a no closing cost loan since 1987. No closing cost is simple. No cost, no fees, no closing costs, no surcharges, none of that when you sign up for your mortgage. And one thing I like to point out is it's not just rebranded. Okay, I love it when you see this sometimes. you can buy a ticket to like a concert or something, and they're like, no additional fees, and then you get the surcharge, or you get the added value cost, and it's like, wait a second, you said no additional fees. They're like, that's not a fee, that's a cost. That's not a fee, that's a surcharge. That's a tax. Okay, well then you kind of lied. When it comes to Gordon Miller and Miller Lending, zero means zero, right? The closing costs are not just renamed, rebranded, and given better public relations. There's no image conscious. They are actually gone. Zero means zero. And that's lovely, right? Because we all know what it's like to have to take that cash out of your pocket when you're already making such a huge investment into something like a house and a mortgage. So give them a call and they can explain more. They can walk you through it. 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or you can visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We have a feedback frenzy coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, Carolina Panthers fans, it's Dennis Cox from 99.9 The Fan. We're in the offseason, but it doesn't mean me and my co-host, WREL TV's Chris Lee, take a break from our podcast, Panthers Playbook. In every episode, we'll keep you up to date on Panthers news as training camp approaches, insights on the rookies, the free agents, and the surprises, plus all the insider info on the upcoming season. Follow and subscribe to Panthers Playbook wherever you discover your favorite podcasts or watch on YouTube.
It's Men's Health Month. WakeMed Primary Care wants to remind you to schedule your annual checkup. It's important to know your health numbers related to cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, and BMI before it leads to chronic diseases. Focus on your health and preventing disease by building healthy habits and getting that yearly checkup and those screenings you've been putting off. To schedule your appointment, visit wakemed.org.
Do you have a wedding anniversary coming up? Don't just mark the day. Make it unforgettable with Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Shop their exquisite selection of designer jewelry or consider upgrading your original engagement ring with the diamond she really deserves. Whether this is the 1st or 31st anniversary, celebrate your love with something special, wrapped in a black and white striped box from Bailey's. Voted best jeweler from the Triangle to the Coast. Every woman wants a Bailey box. Visit us today in store or at baileybox.com.
Hey everybody, it's Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you even more reasons to love home runs every Tuesday during the MLB season. Because with Dinger Tuesdays, all FanDuel customers get a home run profit boost. That means when you bet on moonshots, you can take your winnings to new heights. So whether it's a big blast or a 3-2 pitch smoke to center field, FanDuel is your home for betting home runs. Just visit FanDuel.com/Paul and gear up to go yard all season long. That's FanDuel.com/Paul, Paul with a capital P, and claim your Dinger Tuesday profit boost. Make every moment more with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. 21 plus and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. Louisville, for those of you paying attention to the College Baseball World Series, in a hint of trouble. They are ahead 4-2, top of the 6th, but it appears that Oregon State has loaded the bases with 1 out, and it's a 3-0 count. So maybe not the best situation for Louisville, but who knows? Maybe we'll get out of the jam. Let's go ACC. In the meantime, it's time for a feedback frenzy, where our producer, in today's show, it'll be Max, peruses our social media, our YouTube comments, the internet in general, finds your feedback to conversations we've had on the show, brings the best comments to light, and we get a chance to respond. Basically, it's a way for us to get the last word. So, Max, take it away.
All right, we'll start with these were comments from a conversation a few days ago, maybe it was yesterday, about the Hurricanes potentially pursuing Nikolai Ehlers in free agency, one of the top wing targets. Good player, good point production. There's been kind of talk about this on social media for a few years about his potential fit in the system. Free agent this year. This comment from Colt Azriel 1264. This is going to be a fun offseason for us Canes fans. So many trades and free agents that we can go after, especially with Dallas's for 2 first-round picks. I doubt Rosovic comes back if we have him or Kotkaniemi as 2C. I doubt we will ever get past Florida. Granlund, Duchesne, and Bennett would be upgrades over KK and Rosovic, and I'm good with Jankowski as a 4th center.
All right, there's a lot to take in there. All 3 of those guys are older, so they'd maybe solve the issue, but not long-term. Jankowski is a tough one for me. He played very well, don't get me wrong. And I mean, he's janky, right? They brought in Stanky and Janky, and that's awesome. But I'm not sure the idea was for him to ever be, like, every day out there centering, right? Like, I love his versatility. I love his physicality. I love his ability to kill penalties. And for that reason, I think he is the ideal 13th forward, where if you have Jankowski as your 13th forward, you are never rushing someone back from an injury. You borderline, you might be like a bit cynically excited when somebody has like a tweak and is going to miss 2 weeks because you're like, all right, we get Janky for 2 weeks, depending on who gets hurt. But it's like if he's out there every single game centering your 4th line, I'm not worried about it, but I'm maybe not as excited as some would be. And I really like Jankowski. And he's versatile. He can play on the wing. He can play center. Like he can do a lot of different things. I think he's the perfect 13th forward. And I want the Canes to get their depth to a point where he can be your 13th forward because that shows how good your first 12 are.
And we got another comment from that video here, and this one to me I like, but it's very much like fantasy land. Like,
okay, no, that's what this now. That's until July 1st. Everything is a possibility.
No, I like what this guy is saying. I just don't know how realistic it would be. This is from Jesse Pressler. He says, I would move Stankoven to the second line, whether that to be play him at center or play him at right wing. A second line of Robertson, Stankoven, Marner, or Ehlers, Thompson, Stankoven would be very interesting. I agree that would be very interesting. I don't know how realistic it would be to make either of those happen, but if either one of those are your second line, you're in really good shape.
He had Marner on the second line?
He did.
All right.
I guess theoretically in that world, it's Svechal, Jarvis on the first line.
So here's going back to the conversation we had earlier today. It's actually one of the responses I've gotten a few times. When I'm screaming about make sure you get a center, when I'm screaming about don't get distracted by the wingers, one of the responses I get is you either have to bring in a center or have an idea of someone already on the roster that can be moved to center, which would I guess is what they're doing with Stankoven there. If you weren't playing center this year because you had the murderer's row lineup of Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Roslovic taking those reps, that probably says a little bit about what the coaching staff thinks of your ability to play center.
You're not likely to draw in, and I see a lot of fans online also mention like Jarvis could play second line center. I was like, if he could, he probably would already be there.
They at least would have given it more of a try than it's the Martin Necas thing, right? Martin Necas was always talking about wanting to play center, and I'm going like, do you see the people Rod is playing over him at center right now? That probably, or maybe it just says how highly they're thought of as wingers. So you don't want to take, it's like addition by or subtraction by movement. Go get a center. Go get a center. Then if you also get Marner, fantastic. If you also get Ehlers, that's less fantastic, but great. Go get a center. I like Stankoven, middle six winger right now with the ability to be more. I'd like to have a winger to replace Svech on the top line, and then you can have Svech come down to the second line, and it's a different beast. There's other things to move around, but go get a center. What's next?
So we'll shift slightly to a conversation about Mitch Marner Marner rumors and the Hurricanes. We've been talking about this a lot. Mitchell Campbell says, can we make a trade with Calgary for Rasmus Andersson and Nazem Kadri. They're both pieces we need. Maybe the first-round pick from Dallas and or Kotkaniemi. I'll tell you right now, Mitchell, it's and a little bit more as well. But I like that personally.
So who was it? It was Rasmus Andersson and who else?
Nazem Kadri.
Okay.
I like Kadri. I know he's getting a little bit older up there, but he has been consistent production up there, 60s and 70s of points. Has a little bit of that grit nastiness to him.
I'm just looking up contracts right now.
I believe he makes about $7 million for
7. 3
more seasons.
He is 7. Yep, through the 2028-2029 season. And by the way, that's through his age 37 season.
So that's 4 more seasons, including this upcoming one.
And
correct?
Anderson is through 2025-2026. So you probably want to make sure you have an agreement on an extension, at least in theory, like as you make that trade, or a good idea that he's going to stick around. $4.5 million there, not as bad, but that is expected to go up in 2026. So I mean, there's a price where everything makes sense, okay? But if you're going to give up enough to get those two guys, like there's, I don't pretend to actually know these details, but I know that these details exist where, because I see them on social media, they're the dumbest stories. Like the LinkedIn stories where it's like, you know, my dog got sick, I took him to the vet, and here's what I learned about business-to-business sales. It's like there's times where, you know, a restaurant had a typo and made their most fancy steak $280 instead of $28. And their sales went up by 300%. Not because people were buying the steak, but because everybody was buying the $50 lobster because it was a steal compared to the $280 steak. Like there is a psychology to pricing. And to me, it's like if you're going to spend that much for Anderson and Kadri, is it worth the little bit more to go like, or maybe a lot a bit more, but you walk away with like Thompson and Tuck? Like, if you're going to spend that much, you might as well, right? And I have those thoughts amongst myself, like at like the grocery store, right? Hey, we got people coming over. We're going to have steaks. I'm sitting there looking at the steaks, and I'm going like, I don't know. I could get a much nicer cut for like $4 more a steak. That is money. That's real money, don't get me wrong, but I'm already paying real money. We might as well flex on them a little bit. Not saying that would be a bad outcome. I'm just saying it might be like, yeah, why don't you spend a little bit more, get a little bit younger, a little bit better, a little bit flashier. But I like where your head's at. Go crazy with your fantasy trade calculators. Give us one more.
Again, I feel like whatever happens, it's going to be like so out of left field. It's going to be some player
none
of us are talking about. It's going to be like.
I hope so.
I couldn't even begin to imagine. We'll shift gears here a little bit.
It could be a team no one's expecting. It could be like, you know, who would have thought we were going to make a trade with the Islanders?
Yeah,
like, where did
something
that
like
from?
that. So let's go over to football. Let's go to the gridiron. This was on a conversation about Panthers overreactions and underreactions. Michael Hudson said, Carolina is a legit playoff team this year. Derek Brown is an absolute beast, so Carolina will have a top 5 defense.
Well, that would be maybe the biggest glow up. I mean, they were dead last year, and at times historically dead last. So that's not great. Derek Brown was absent for everything but that first part of the first game, so he's back. Right now, it's incomplete. I can't tell you how good the defense is going to be until I know who's playing free safety and who's playing corner opposite of J.C. Horn. If that's Michael Jackson and if the free safety is Damani Richardson, you're definitely not going to be the best defense, top 5 defense in the league. You might end up underwhelming, despite the fact that you have, I think, a really good core, and obviously Derek Brown is a part of that, because you have like those would be big targets that the offense would try to kind of take advantage of. So until they improve those, I'm not going to sit here and agree with you on that. But there's a reason why games don't start June 17th, right? They have time to go fix that. They have time to go pick up free agents, and they have, you know, a few resources to make it happen. So I'm not out on what you're saying, but I'm not there yet. And that's a feedback frenzy. here on The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan. And we have the starting five coming up next, so you do not want to go anywhere. Back after this.
Champions are crowned on 99.9 The Fan.
Marchand comes the other way on a break and scores. It's 3-0 Panthers.
Hockey tonight. Florida, Edmonton in the Stanley Cup Final. Game 6. Puck drop at 8.
Reinhart scores from the left circle. He beats Pickard short side, and there's an answer from the defending champs who once again go up by 3.
On your audio home for the Stanley Cup Final. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, and it's no surprise. Same game parlay from Bet365 just keeps getting better.
Well, it's even easier to make a bet. Choose from the most popular markets like hits, run line, totals, and home runs. So many to choose from.
Download the app, start building your bet, and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in North Carolina. T&Cs apply.
Heineken Silver is a world-class light beer with only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. It keeps things light and refreshing all year round. It's like rain showing up to cool things off and then politely leaving. It's like cracking open a window and nailing the cross breeze. So, as we move into the warmer weather, grab a crisp and refreshing Heineken Silver and taste the difference. Only 2.9 carbs and 95 calories. Available at your local Heineken retailer or for delivery at Heineken.com/silver now. Must be 21 plus to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Down on credit cards, struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Get cash out now without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated their kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That's a huge turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity is yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 five-star Google reviews. Their service is off the charts. Call now to start the conversation. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. Loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 166171 on approved credit. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. Can't rule out a shower or storm through the early evening hours. Dry overnight and warm, 76 the low. Hotter day tomorrow, partly cloudy skies. We're going to shoot for 96 for the high. Thunderstorms on Thursday. Some could be strong to severe.
Weather update brought to you by Newcomb & Company, where your comfort is their business. Visit newcombandcompany.com. 5 o'clock check of the Dow Jones at the closing bell. Down 299 points to 42,215.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Starting five is brought to you by Ritchie Law Firm. That's Ritchie Law Firm. I don't know why I said that with weird patterns. I'm going to start over. Starting five is brought to you by the Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com. RICCI law.com. That was better. And now we can start the starting five in earnest. And as always, we start with number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We'll call number 5 baseball news because I don't know how it happened. But before our last segment, I updated you on the College Baseball World Series going on. Louisville, the last ACC team still playing. So if you're an ACC fan and go ACC, you're rooting for Louisville. They're in an elimination game against Oregon State right now. And before the last segment, I said, it's not looking good. Louisville was up 4-2, but Oregon State had the bases loaded in the bottom of the 6th with just 1 out. Now, I will admit, during that commercial break, had some other things I was doing, did not watch. I look up now, somehow it's top of the 7th, and Louisville is up 5-3. So they gave up 1 on the bases loaded jam, but they already got it back. I'm not sure how all this happened. So Louisville's up 2, and they got out of whatever jam that was mostly unscathed. And they're already back in the field. What is going on here? They are playing a ridiculous pace of baseball. But Louisville leads Oregon State 5-3, top of the 7th. Also in baseball news, yesterday, Shohei Ohtani pitched. It had been a long time since Ohtani pitched. That is, Ohtani doing the pitching and hitting thing is the closest I get to like what it felt like when I was a kid to watch baseball. When I think for a lot of us, right, America's pastime, one of your first loves is baseball, right? T-ball's one of the first games you can actually like play with your buddies. And I like watching at the time, it would have been for me like the home run chase of McGuire and Sosa and Griffey and all those guys. It's just like pure wonderment with like, how do they do it? And you get to go to a Major League Baseball game every now and then, and you watch somebody hit a home run, and it doesn't matter who it is, but it feels like the ball is hit to the moon. It's like, oh my goodness. Partially it looks that way because the T-ball fields you play on are like 50 feet long, and they're just mashing taters. Shohei gives me some of that wonderment because I've kind of wrapped my brains around like, hey, you can hit a ball a long way, right? Watching Aaron Judge hit a monster is still like, whoa, that's cool. He hit it a long way. But Shohei Ohtani doing both? Like, as an adult, I didn't know that was possible. Maybe it's because my entire life I was told it wasn't. Every time there's a pitcher that's even, like, in the National League and halfway good at hitting, it's like, whoa. And halfway good, it's like if they hit 190, but are at least a threat to hit a home run, it's like, this guy's unbelievable. Remember, Mike Hampton used to be a good hitter, right? It would be goofy at the end of like an 18-inning game when they needed a pinch hitter and they went to some relief pitcher because he hit 165. And you'd be like, whoa, look at this. Ohtani pitched, didn't even pitch well. Went out there for 1 inning, gave up 2 hits, and earned a run, got pulled. Right? That's not a good outing. That's a horrendous outing. They had to go full bullpen. Like, what was it, like 10 pitchers in that game? They were rifling through him. It was a full bullpen game because he couldn't do much. But at the plate, he had 2 hits and a walk and 2 RBIs. He gets to make up for the bad pitching with the hitting. Nobody else gets to do that. Aaron Judge never gets to say, I went 0 for 4 today. But at least I gave you 5 good innings on the mound. Like, it doesn't happen. It's insane. It's the closest I get to being a little kid watching baseball game. And I'm not an Ohtani fan. I'm not a Dodgers fan. I'm not an Angels fan. I grew up a Mets fan. We got to deal with that internally. But sure would be nice to have a guy like that on the squad. That's number 5. Let's go ahead and hit number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. All together.
Keeshan back in his own zone makes a nice play away from Rodriguez.
Keeshan looks the part again. There he goes.
Now he'll backhand one up Stankoven. Stankoven with a shot. He scores! Logan Stankoven. And for the first time in this series, the Canes have a lead. It's 1-0 Carolina.
The Canes are in what I have described and I have decided is the summer of getting a center. There's a lot of side quests. Right, you want a veteran right-handed defenseman, okay. You want a winger that can score a bunch, great. We all do. You want to lock up Nikishin and Stankoven to long-term deals. Fine. But don't mistake it for the main thing. The main thing is get a center. First or second line. One of the things that I failed to mention earlier when we talked about this in full detail, I need them to be, like, I'm going to be greedy with who the center is. And the reason being is Rod Brind'Amour is human. He sometimes feels like a hockey machine, right? And he's been in and amongst elite hockey for his entire life. And he sometimes feels, but he's human. And what that means is he's developed relationships with guys. And he trusts certain guys. And someone who I believe he would trust to, like, I don't even know. Like if he was hanging out of a helicopter and had to have one person just gripping his hand and holding him from falling to his death, he'd be like, Jordan Staal. Jordan, me and you, buddy. Let's go. So you have to be like a two-way hockey player for Brind'Amour, right? Because if you're not playing defense, he'll go, I'm play Jordo. You have to be like a 30% better player overall than Jordan Staal, at least. Like, I don't think it can be close, or else when times get tough, you fall back on what you know. You fall back on what you trust. All humans do. All of them. Right? So, and by the way, like, everyone is that way. I'm not saying this about Rod Brind'Amour as if it's some kind of an issue. Matter of fact, it's, I think, at times why believing wholeheartedly in analytics helps. Because at times when you want to fall back into, I trust this guy, you need like a number smashed in your face that says, no, play this other one. Like, I think whoever ends up being the second line center, in order for them to play second line minutes, has to be significantly better than Jordan Staal, just so the temptation isn't there. So it's like, all right, it's obvious I play this guy. So shop in those aisles, right? Well, I'm trying to think of when this happened. All right, I won't say the store. There was a point in time in my career where I was doing endorsements for a particular company. None that I'm doing right now. So there it is. And they would give me my payment in store credit. So I'd walk into a store with, like, $400 or whatever, $300. I forget how much it was. And sometimes I could wait a bunch of months and let it pile up, right? So I might go in with like $800-900. And there would usually be like one thing I wanted. Okay? Walk in. You see the thing you want. Take up most of your money. Or you see a lesser version of it, cheaper version of it, not as good version of it, for $400. And then I could get this other thing for $400. And you start doing that game, you're like, I could walk out of here with three things rather than the good version of what I actually wanted. And it's if we're looking at it as whatever my budget was there is the salary cap, I don't want that to happen. I don't want it to go, we could get the $10 million center who's worth $12 million. We could, or we get the $6 million center and put extra $4 million towards a winger, and then we'd still have money left over for a defenseman, and we might be able to grab, we can save a prospect and a draft pick that we won't have to trade away, and by the end I'm going like, well, now you have a guy that's going to be a third line center instead of a second line center, and we didn't improve the part that we all know we need to improve. I will be okay, though, if you spend a little bit of money extending Logan Stankoven. I will be okay if you spend a little bit of money extending Alexander Nikishin. To me, that's different than going out and spending it on something else. Like, those guys are in your program. You want to keep them there. It's part of making the Mikko trade make sense is extending Logan Stankoven and getting that long-term contract. And he was on 6:10 a.m. Kamloops. There you go. And this is what Logan Stankoven had to say about signing long-term with the Canes.
Yeah, personally, I'd love to. I think it seems like the team likes to sign, the younger guys to longer-term deals, and that would be great for me. That'd be a dream come true to sign a deal like that. But yeah, I guess we'll just wait and see for now until I guess July 1st is when they can kind of start talking to me about a new deal, an extension. So, we'll wait until then and see what happens.
I love that. Because do you know what else they do with those long-term extensions to young guys? That average annual value is maybe a little bit lower because you're getting stability for longer, and those deals age well as long as the player continues to develop. And if you look at the deals that the Canes have long-term, the Aho deal has aged well. The Jarvis deal will age fantastically. The Slavin deal will age fantastically. There's a lot of deals there that I would love to throw Stankoven into that group and go, these deals are going to be great when this cap keeps going up. So hopefully that happens. I'd be okay with that one. And as the cap goes up, you'll still have money to do everything else you want to do. As number 4, let's hit number 3. All right, this is going to be a bit meaty and nerdy. The Carolina Panthers yesterday put out an ominous tweet. And it looked as if like Wolverine had 4 blades instead of the 3, and he had slashed like a black leather couch, revealing teal insides. And that was it. And it felt like, okay, what are they doing here? A lot of people suggested that maybe it was a new jersey. Maybe it was switching up the color schemes of maybe their primary jersey, something along those lines. Then it came out that they were kind of hinting at maybe a new hashtag, Leave Our Mark. And we actually have some audio from that sizzle video. We'll play it until you get the point.
Our mentality is clear. Attack.
Everybody up! Everybody up! Let's go!
We're built to hunt. Not here to blend in, but to break through. A team ready to emerge from the shadows, defend our lair, and prey on new territory. Chest out and eyes set on one goal.
That's it, man. Let's win today.
Win. Win in preparation. Win in performance. Win in all phases.
Let's go!
It takes heart to carve out a legacy, and we're hungry to leave our mark.
All right, there you go. We can cut it there. It takes heart to carve out a legacy, and we're hungry to hashtag leave our mark. Some Panthers fans got very upset with that because they believed hashtag leave our mark was going to replace keep pounding, which has meaning back to Sam Mills and meaning back to kind of the foundation of the entire franchise with the Carolina Panthers. It turns out today they said keep pounding and like forever and always. That's never going to change. So I guess they're adding leave our mark as a brand, as a slogan for this year in addition to keep pounding. I like the idea behind leave our mark. And we talked about it earlier where I think this year's team for the Carolina Panthers is not a complete enough team yet to truly compete for like a conference or Super Bowl championship. But I do think you're starting to have enough pieces in place that this year's team could realistically feel like a foundation has been laid, right? I've referenced it quite a few as like the seniors when they know that you're not going to win the conference championship this year, they turn their attention to like making sure they instill everything they know in the freshmen. And these are the ones that aren't going pro, right? You're like, all right, I only got 3 more of these games. So you sit around here, youngin', and listen up. I think that could be a role played by guys like Adam Thielen, right? By Taylor Moton, by some of these players that have been around for a long time that will recognize at a certain point in time, like, all right, we're not going to win a Super Bowl this year, but I want to feel ownership over you when you're competing for a Super Bowl 5-6 years from now, or 3 years from now, or 2 years from now, however quickly you get there. So leave our mark, to me, for this year's Canes team is like leave a legacy of some kind of positive that when things start to really come together, right? When things start to really, you become a contender, to be able to say, hey, see that thing they're doing there? I had something to do with that. So I like that as a secondary deal, but you're never going to get rid of Keep Pounding. At least you never should get rid of Keep Pounding. It's part of the identity of the franchise. What number was that? 3? Let's hit number 2.
Just the two of us.
An extra pass, Jalen Williams, corner 3. Caruso hustling to get the rebound. Gilgeous-Alexander nails his three-pointer. 31 points for SGA.
The Thunder won pivotal Game 5 last night of the NBA Finals over the Indiana Pacers, and for a multitude of reasons, not a great night for the Pacers. First of all, Tyrese Halliburton is going to have to take some arrows for the team. He had 4 points. No threes, 3 turnovers, no field goals. Rough one. Now, it has come out that he will be getting an MRI today. Has it happened yet? Before the show, we had word that he's getting an MRI in his calf to find out the severity of a calf strain.
I don't think the results of it. I feel like if they sent out a big notification for he was getting the MRI, I feel like if it came through. Okay. So I think hasn't happened just yet.
Hasn't happened yet. So they may have lost the game, potentially lost their best player, and have their backs against the wall for Game 6, down 3-2. That's a rough one for the Pacers. Not to take anything away from the Thunder, because the Thunder did what the Thunder do, which is SGA was good. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was really good at times, but he looked like an MVP. And then they've got a lot of different guys that do a lot of different things really well. Caruso off the bench scored like 2 points, but you noticed him when he was on the floor, and his defense is special. Chet Holmgren maybe wasn't as impactful as he normally is, but Jalen Williams picked up the slack, and I believe it is Jalin Williams, not Jaylin Williams. They have 2 Jalen Williams on the team. He scored 40. So that's kind of like, it is the most frustrating thing to be playing a team sport and to do all of the things that maybe you thought you had to do and have somebody else beat you anyway, right? And you have to live with those. I'll reference the article I read a while ago that I've fallen in love with. It's an article that was actually started about Caruso. Then I clicked a link that was referenced in that one, and we got down a rabbit hole. But there was an entire article on Shane Battier's defense for the Rockets in 2009 against Kobe. And Battier, they basically said his brain is like a computer. And Daryl Morey, who's the most advanced analytics basketball roster evaluator, and was way ahead of the curve back then, would actually give him all of the analytics on the guys he guards. Normally, he wouldn't do that to players because he feels like it would bog them down. But he would give it to Battier. And Battier would know Kobe Bryant shoots, you're never going to limit him to 0, but he shoots 18% worse from this spot, or 18% worse off a dribble with the left. And he had not only the awareness and the mind to recall that all quickly, but also the stubbornness might be the word, the good kind of stubbornness, to have a shot that Kobe hits lower than any of them and watch him make like 6 of them and keep forcing him to that spot because it's still statistically the best play, even if he's hitting them. And that's very difficult because if you see him, hit 4 in a row, all right, now I'm going to force him to the other side. Turns out he hits that shot more, and you're actually giving him a better shot. So the same thing is kind of true here, where it's like if you're playing the Thunder and you make SGA work for his 31, I think he had 21 shots, but he had to work for it, tough shots, and you bottle up Chet Holmgren, and you find all of these other ways to make them work, and then Jalen Williams goes for 40, only making 3 threes. you're like, gosh, we did everything we or most things we wanted to do. Like, we made him take the tough shot, and he scored anyway. That's disheartening. It was a really tough day for the Indiana Pacers. We'll get. Actually, let's hear from SG on the impact of Caruso, just to hear a little bit of audio here. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the impact Caruso has had on the team.
He's the only one on the team with a ring. He knows what it takes. He's been there before. He's won 16 games in a playoff run, so he knows what it takes. And when he speaks, everyone listens. And also, like, what he brings to the game, like, you have no choice but to listen. Like, a guy like that leads by example, not only leading with his voice, and does everything to make the team better, selfishly and selflessly, is you have no choice but to listen to a guy like that when he speaks.
I think he seems older because he's bald. I'm just going to say it. He's 31, and he got a late start in the NBA. He played a bunch of years in the G League, but they talk about him like he's Yoda, like he's been around for hundreds of years. He did win the championship, but that was a bubble championship with the Lakers. I'm not saying it's less, but it's different. Winning 16 games on the same court every night is different than winning 16 games traveling between and everything else. But he's bald, so I think it makes him feel older.
Definitely. I know OKC is a pretty young team as
Super
well.
young.
So.
Like, he is older than the guys on his team. But I just, like, he's not like Juwan Howard on the Heat team, right? He's not some of this, he's not Udonis Haslem, you know what I mean? Just on the team just to he's still getting by with, like, effort and speed. That's number 2. Let's hit number 1.
Go one!
Frederick just cross-checked Bennett. Broke his stick, and now Bennett's going to get even. That was Greer and Nurse. We're just going to start seeing 10-minute misconducts getting handed out.
Oh, hockey. The Stanley Cup final, what is it, game, what number are we looking at? 6 here tonight. Florida leads the series 3-2. Max, while we have you here, I know you're a hockey guy. Make a pick. Who wins? Final score. Give us the details.
I'm definitely going with the Oilers because you got to have it go 7.
Is that – are you trying to put that energy into the world, or do you actually think that? Because for my money, Florida has looked like the better team this series.
I mean, if we're being realistic, like
we're gambling. You got to bet your house.
It's a tough Well, if I'm betting my house, I'm just going to go with my ladder challenge pick over 6.5 because it's been every game.
I'm saying you got to pick a team to win, money line, puck line, whatever you want to call it.
I'll take Edmonton. I think.
All right,
I think the motivation, especially of last year too, and everything that's gone on with them, and they've lost key contributors with injuries. Like, I can't imagine there has been like a more motivated version. Not that they're normally not, and not that guys like McDavid and Draisaitl don't want to win, but like that's got to be. We'll probably know, I think, in the first 5 or 10 minutes. You'll be able to see
Really?
You'll be able to see whether they have that jump, because if they come out flat, then Florida will pounce on them and it'll be over. But I'll take Edmonton because I want to see it happen.
The hard part with that is we've seen them go down 3-0 in the first period and win the game. So they could really lay a stinker early, and I'd still be going like, wait, maybe we've seen it once. It's interesting to say. Jackie Redmond was asked if it feels like the Panthers are the superior team in the series. This is what she had to say.
Yeah, I think it does. When the series started, the first couple games, as we know, were insane. One of the craziest Stanley Cup final I've ever covered, for sure. And at that time, I was like, you know what? These are pretty evenly matched teams. But now as the series has gone on, I think Florida has separated themselves from Edmonton. I'm not going to count the Oilers out. They've got McDavid and Draisaitl, 2 of the best players in the world. So I think if they can force a game 7, we saw them come back from 3-0 in the final last year, 3-0 last year. So they can do it. But I do think that Florida has established themselves as the more dominant team. They're better in goal. They're better on the back end. They're deeper as a whole. They've won before, so they have the confidence that comes with that.
I agree with everything she just said there. The only part that's and I know it doesn't mean as much in hockey, but closeout games, elimination games, if you have the best player, there's always that chance, right? You always have that slingshot trying to pull it off. Watching this series, I do think the Florida Panthers are the better team. I think they are somehow underrated as skaters because of all the rat antics that they embrace. So there's a lot of like, hey, when you play the Florida Panthers, and I've contributed to this, you can't get caught up in their mind games. You can't get caught up in the extracurriculars. And because we're always saying that, we might not be saying, oh, by the way, they're also really talented hockey players, and you have to take care of that as well. So I would say, I mean, it's so cliche and so dumb that I don't want to say it, but unless you get all-world performances from McDavid and Draisaitl, I think it's over. But there is always, like, you know, we're talking multiple points from both of them,
Right.
and at least once or twice, like getting a goal where there shouldn't be one scored, or making a play where it's like, goodness, he made something out of nothing. Those two guys are going to have to be superhuman, or else Florida's waves of talent and Zach Hyman being out and a few other things is just going to be, I think, too much.
I think just for the sake of like sports everywhere, like we got to see a seventh game. The theater, the drama of it would be so incredible. And like you said, it will probably take a top tier performance from those guys, but they're two of the top 5 players of all time in points per game when it comes to the playoffs. So you can really never count them out. I mean, even like you said, they've been down multiple goals in multiple games and come back and won. So, but I think you'll be able to sense it early, though.
And the interesting part is Jackie Redmond referenced it. I referenced it earlier. They were down 3-0 last year in this same series against the same team and came back to force a Game 7. So you don't even get to like sneak up on anybody as like hey, we might be able to, they think we're down and out. It's like, no. They learned we weren't down and out at 3-0 last year. They darn sure aren't thinking we're down and out at 3-2 this year. So you're just going to have to like beat them straight up. There's no trickery, none of that. You just got to go out there and play better hockey. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If you want to win the numbers game, you can go in with that same attitude. You're just going to go out there and know jersey numbers better. Today's gift, $50 gift card to Apex Racing Lab. I shouldn't say gift, I should say prize. You have to earn it. $50 gift card to Apex Racing Lab. You get to go out there and test your mettle in the virtual racing world, the simulator racing world. All you have to do is win the numbers game. The number to call, 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326. We need 2 contestants. Call in now, and you'll have your chance. 919-860-5326. Numbers game next.
It's Men's Health Month. WakeMed Primary Care wants to remind you to schedule your annual checkup. It's important to know your health numbers related to cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight, and BMI before it leads to chronic diseases. Focus on your health and preventing disease by building healthy habits and getting that yearly checkup and those screenings you've been putting off. To schedule your appointment, visit wakemed.org.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Over the years, I'm often asked why we made the choice to become one of the only mortgage companies in the state to provide loans without closing costs as a primary source of funding. And my response is always the same. How did closing costs ever become a thing? Who was that first person who asked for a lower rate, heard it would cost $15,000 to save $50 a month, smiled and said, "That'd be great"? Recently, we're noticing a trend of large national lenders quoting low rates but with a high APR. This is the definition of what happened when that first person asked for a lower rate but ignored how much it would cost. Quotes today are a 2-part process. It's not just the rate, but what are the closing costs? At Miller Lending, we simply don't believe you'll keep your loan long enough to realize additional savings. So before you throw away thousands of dollars in needless fees, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
Triple play, triple play, triple play. 3 ways to win on every scratch off. They're like a 3-man wrecking crew of winning potential smashing into your bare hands. Triple threats of cold hard cash. Prizes up to $1 million. 3 times the play, 3 times the thrills, and 3 ways to win. Triple play from the North Carolina Education Lottery with triple action-packed chances to win.
Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.84 to 4.79. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
The North Carolina Courage, the Triangle's premier women's pro soccer team, and First Horizon Stadium at Cary's WakeMed Soccer Park is the place to be, to believe, become, and belong. The Courage invite you to Pride Night on June 21st, presented by Cary Estate Planning. Get tickets at nccourage.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I feel like this is happening more and more often. It is time to play the numbers game, and we had another caller drop. So, we have an open line. If you want to play, and if you want the $50 gift card to Apex Racing Lab, 919-860-5326. Call in right now. Next caller gets on the line. Matt and Raleigh, you're locked in. You're ready to play. We have to find Matt a competitor. So if you're out there right now, and you thought, oh, no, I won't. No, do it. 919-860-5326. Apex Racing Lab. We've been giving away those gift cards for first goal scorer predictions. We've been making it happen. And let me tell you, everybody seems pretty darn pleased when they come back. So if you're unaware, and that's why you're not calling in, the $50 to Apex Racing Lab is pretty cool. There's they got drinks. They got a whole thing. All right? They got a whole thing. All right. Looks like Max is getting the next caller on the line. I'm getting the thumbs up. Do we have a name here? Oh, there you go. There we go. We have Greg in Wake Forest. So it'll be Matt in Raleigh and Greg in Wake Forest battling it out in the numbers game. As always, I will ask the same question to both. Max will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. Matt and Raleigh, are you there?
I am there.
All right. Can you turn down your radio just a little bit so we don't hear the echo? Perfect.
Yep.
Now, the question is, we were having this debate, or this conversation. Everything doesn't have to be a debate. In the office the other day. It's starting to get hot outside. So you could go when you were a kid. Maybe you still do it now. When the ice cream truck comes around and you run out with your couple of dollars, what ice cream is your choice at the ice cream truck?
I'm going with the SpongeBob ice cream.
All right, SpongeBob ice cream. That has the gumballs for eyes, right?
Yeah, and they usually don't ever look the same.
All right, perfect. Max, you got that one locked in? All right. That brings us to Greg in Wake Forest. Greg, are you there?
I am.
All right, same question to you. When the ice cream truck comes around, you could go back to what you were doing as a kid. Maybe you're still into the ice cream thing now. When the ice cream truck comes around, what ice cream is your go-to?
Something chocolate, maybe some chocolate chips, a cone with a little bit of chocolate ice cream, chocolate covered. That would be my go-to.
All right, so like quadruple chocolate. Max, what are we rolling with? Are we rolling with SpongeBob or chocolate?
I mean, that's a really tough choice. I'm a chocolate lover myself, but I remember many times going down to the old community pool and getting the SpongeBob popsicle. I got to go with the SpongeBob popsicle.
So nostalgia wins out in the end. Matt and Raleigh, you get to go first. Greg, don't worry. You'll have your chance. Just have to sit on hold for a second. Matt, are you ready to pick a category?
I am ready.
All right, the categories are NFL players that switched positions from college to the pros, NFL players whose first name starts with J-E-R, NBA players that are active and have at least 2 career triple-doubles, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
Let's go with NFL players who switched positions.
All right, this category has been sitting here for a long time unpicked, so we'll see if everybody was foolish for passing on it. I'll give you the team and the player. You give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Nope, all good.
All right, your time will start when you hear the horn. Devin Hester, Chicago Bears.
23.
Correct. Dante Hall, Kansas City Chiefs.
18.
Incorrect. Antoine Randall L, Pittsburgh Steelers.
82.
Correct. Logan Thomas, Washington Redskins.
80.
Incorrect. Dante Hall, Kansas City Chiefs.
14.
Incorrect. Logan Thomas, Washington Redskins.
81.
Incorrect. Dante Hall, Kansas City Chiefs.
24.
Incorrect. Logan Thomas, Washington Redskins.
84.
You skipped over the one you should have stuck with. You got Devin Hester with 23. You got Randall L with 82. Dante Hall, we would have accepted 20 or number 82, and Logan Thomas with Washington, 82. So maybe it's like the old Scantron tests where you get like 4 C's in a row and you're like, oh, that can't be right. Let me change one of them. The answers we were looking for were 23, 82, 82, and 82. You did get 2 of them, though, so we'll see if it holds up. Two's won a good amount in the past. Stay on the line, and we'll see if Greg can one-up you. Greg, are you there?
Yep.
All right. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players whose first name starts with the 3 letters J-E-R, NBA players that are active with multiple career triple-doubles, or NHL players Hurricanes only.
Let's go with NFL J-E-R.
All right. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. 1 pass if you need it. You do need at least 3 for the win. Any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Jerry Rice, San Francisco 49ers.
80.
Correct. Jeremy Chin, Washington Commanders.
Pass.
Jeremy Shockey, New York Giants.
80.
Correct. Jerome Bettis, Los Angeles Rams.
55.
Incorrect. Jeremy Chin, Washington Commanders.
25.
Incorrect. Jeremy Maclin, Philadelphia Eagles.
11.
Incorrect. Jerome Bettis, Los Angeles Rams.
59.
Incorrect. Jeremy Chin, Washington.
Oh, my gosh.
Ironically, you got the 2 80s, right? We were both of these were peppered with the same numbers. Jeremy Chin with the Commanders wears 11. Jerome Bettis, the bus with the Rams early in his career, wore number 36, but I believe that's what he wore with the Steelers also. And Jeremy Maclin with the Eagles had some very good years alongside Deshaun Jackson, wore number 18. Unfortunately, tie goes to whoever goes first. So if you have any complaints, take it up with Max for choosing SpongeBob over the chocolate. But hopefully you had some fun and you get to do it again.
Yep, I did. Thanks.
Right. Thank you very much, Greg. That means Matt in Raleigh is the winner. Matt, congratulations. That is huge. The SpongeBob for the win. There's only a few situations in life you can yell SpongeBob for the win.
It's the gumball eyeballs is really what does it for me.
All right. Well, whatever it takes to get called first. You got the win, so congratulations. Stay on the line. Max will grab some info he needs to make sure he gets your prize.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I know I always kind of complain a lot about the numbers game. Surprisingly difficult to start every first name with Jer, J-E-R, and have different endings and not stumble through it. Jerry, Jerome, Jeremy. It was very difficult. So, but we push through. We find a way for the listeners, right? That's how I make it as dramatic and absolutely over dramatic might be the better way to put it, as I possibly can. It's actually not that hard. But I will say this. That is an interesting fact that of the players that have changed numbers from the college to the NFL, so many of them, by the way, different positions. Devin Hester went from cornerback to wide receiver. Dante Hall from running back to wide receiver. Randall L. from quarterback to wide receiver. Logan Thomas, Virginia Tech guy, from quarterback to tight end. Right? So bunch of different ways they ended up there. So many of them end up with 82. Probably because that's not a real swagged out number, and when you're changing numbers, you don't get like the first pick. But still, kind of a fun fact. Things that make you go, With that, I'm going to make you say, about this. There are only 37 days until Carolina Panthers training camp. Our question of the day about the team comes up next. Don't go anywhere.
Hey folks, Dennis Cox here with my friends over at Loan Pronto. You maxed out on credit cards, maybe struggling with high interest debt? You can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Get cash out now without even touching your low rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan program at Loan Pronto is amazing. One Loan Pronto client just got $300,000 approved in under 24 hours. They paid off debt, renovated the kitchen, and cut their monthly expenses by $1,800. That is a massive turnaround. Loan Pronto, instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. Listen, your home equity, it's yours. Use it. Get cash to consolidate your debt down to one easy low monthly payment. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home and see how much cash you can get today. Loan Pronto is A+ rated by the BBB and have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Call now to get the conversation started. 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. 919-381-1760. Get debt relief now. LoanPronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781 on approved credit. NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. 37 days. 37 days till the Carolina Panthers open up training camp. Now, 37 days is a lot and a little. Okay? We're going to get to our question of the day. But, you know, involving our feedback frenzy from earlier, a listener, a feedbacker, I don't know how we call it, a commenter might be the way to do that better, brought up that, you know, the defense is better, and you know, I think they said they were going to be a top 5 defense in the NFL this year.
He did say top 5 defense,
largely on the shoulders of Derek Brown being a stud, which I do agree. I do agree. Derek Brown is going to be a stud. I do agree with that. Okay, but I don't know if that's going to push him towards being top 5 in the league. So what I said was there's still a long time for them to add. 37 days is plenty to add a safety, plenty to add a corner, plenty to grab a tight end if you're worried about Tommy Tremble's health and you want a blocking tight end, although Mitchell Evans is getting some good press. Like, there's plenty of time for all of that. But at the same time, from a fan's perspective, 37 days, I mean, that's darn near a month. All right, let's go ahead and fire this bad boy up and see if we can make it run. So, with that being said, we are going to take a quick break. But when we come back, the question of the day, and it will involve no players. We're looking at Dave Canales coming up next.
Move your sports day forward.
It's been a while, but the Carolina Hurricanes won't have to figure out in free agency how to spend the money, but what to spend the money for. Unlike us common folk who probably have to use coupons, General Manager Eric Tulsky will have a different challenge. He's probably going to have to pay over sticker price to build a Stanley Cup winner.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
It is Men's Health Month, and I'm Tim Donnelly, joined by Dr. Katie Rains, urologist from Wake Med. Doctor, when it comes to prostate cancer, what types of screenings are there for men to do, and where do you find them, or where do you get them done when you're interested?
The best screening test for prostate cancer is a blood test called the PSA, or the prostate-specific antigen. And if that's high, you may be recommended to go see a urologist. There are other tests that we can do in addition to that blood test, including a digital rectal exam. That doesn't have to be done if you go see your primary care doctor to discuss a PSA, but that may be part of your workup. And then if your primary care doctor does that blood test and it is high, they may refer you to see a urologist for further testing.
Once again, it is Men's Health Month, so for answers to questions like that one and much, much more, including general information for men and their health, please visit wakemed.org. Once again, that website is wakemed.org.
A pepperoni pizza for the table. May I suggest trying it with our Pepsi Zero Sugar? It has just the right amount of sweetness to complement all that cheesy, saucy goodness. Simply divine.
Pepsi Zero Sugar? You've really outdone yourself this time. Pizza deserves Pepsi.
Handy Hugo's has a refreshing deal. 2 1-liter Pepsis for just $3. Quench your thirst at Handy Hugo's today.
Hey friends, Paul Ihander from 99.9 The Fan for Clayton Homes. And as you know, here in North Carolina, summer's heat up. And so are those deals at the Clayton Homes Sign and Save event. Right now, you can save up to $5,000 instantly on a brand new home. That's $2,500 off a single section or $5,000 off a multi-section home. And you know these homes are built tough. in state-of-the-art facilities that protect them during construction. And you know every home is loaded with Energy Smart features, giving you comfort, efficiency, and long-term savings. And with tons of floor plans and fully furnished models, it's easy to find your perfect match. Visit your local Clayton Homes or Oakwood Homes or check out limited-time offers now at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. But don't wait. The Clayton Homes Sign and Save event ends August 31st. Terms and conditions for the Sign and Save sales event at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through 8/31. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Just because we've been updating you on this game throughout the show, the ACC, at least at the moment, still alive in the College Baseball World Series in Omaha. Louisville, in an elimination game with Oregon State, is ahead 6-4, top of the 9th. So we'll see how it ends up. But they do have a 2-run lead in the final frame. Go ACC. 37 days until Carolina Panthers training camp, and our question of the day is simple. We are turning the lens on Dave Canales and how he impacts the game on game day the most. How can Dave Canales improve as a play caller? Right, we talk a lot about players, talk a lot about what Tedero McMillan might do, what Bryce has to level up. Can the offensive line and Chuba do it again? We talk about the players, but I will, till my dying day, believe that some of the most underrated people, and as far as impacting a game, are offensive play callers. So much so that if I had I don't even know who's the richest owner in the NFL. Is it Denver with the Walmart people, the Waltons, I guess. Whoever has the most rich owner, if I were a GM, I would look at them and say, if you want to buy a championship in a salary cap sport, right, where you can't just go out, they can't Yankees it, right? You can't just go spend hundreds of millions of dollars more than everybody else. The place where I think you can do the most damage just by having a bigger chip stack at the table is by paying your offensive play caller. To the point where it's like, if you think it's Andy Reid, if you think it's McVay, if you think it's Shanahan, I would call up their agent and say, what's the number? Right? Play out your contract, and I will pay you as much as you need. If it's $25 million a year, I think that impacts things the most. And I don't want you to be head coach. I just want you to be offensive play caller, because I'll have someone else call timeouts. I'll have someone else decide whether to go for it on fourth. I just want you calling plays because that's where you can impact the game the most. So Dave Canales, regardless of the players, has to constantly be making sure he is on top of it as a play caller. What can he improve on? I don't think it's scheme. I think he's a really smart football guy. Okay, and Matt Harmon of Yahoo Sports, I'm a fan of his work. He does a lot of great stuff in evaluating wide receivers. But he has highlighted how creative and well schemed up the calls were for Canales last year, right? In a vacuum, if you take player names off of the backs of their jerseys and it's just offensive versus defensive intelligence, he does a really good job at being creative, being unpredictable, and using previous play calls to set up the next one and everything else. So I like his scheme. The way I think Dave Canales can improve as a play caller is with the people, right? And the best way I can kind of illustrate this is if you talk to basketball players, they all have their favorite point guard, and it's usually, and especially like we're talking previous to this generation. This generation, a lot of point guards want to score. But like in the 90s, they all have their favorite point guard, and it's almost like they're half point guard, half therapist, right? Like when the big guy runs up and down the floor 6 times and doesn't get a touch, he starts to disengage. So you gotta feed him in the post. Or when my shooting guard, my top scorer, clanks a jumper, he actually is not that way, right? He needs to take some energy and frustration out on the defensive side before he gets another shot, because you got to know the people. I'm not sure if Dave Canales did that great last year, and I think it started from the very beginning. Bryce Young was overwhelmed in the early part of the year, and that offense did not put kid gloves on him. They did not give him training wheels. which you might say he's a professional quarterback. He was the top pick. Why would you baby-proof the offense? I'm going, all right, you don't have to. You're probably going to get what you got, right? Interception on his first pass. Not great football. But, yeah, you proved your point that he's the first pick, and no, dial it back, right? When you have to feel when your quarterback needs an easy completion. Even Peyton Manning calls them breather plays. If you watch Peyton Manning, the Manning cast on Monday Night Football, he talks about breather plays, where sometimes even Peyton Manning was like, you know what, I'm just going to turn and hand this one to Edgerrin James. And he might still be up there squawking and squealing and doing all the hand motions, but all that was nonsense. He knew, like, today, this play, I don't need to make a decision. I need a breather. Where's Joseph Adai? Here you go. When Bryce needs an easy completion, find him an easy completion. Because there's also nothing worse than being rattled as a quarterback and then getting like a play action, 7-step drop, double move, tough read, opposite field, comeback of a throw, and you're like, geez, I was already underwater. Now, here we go, coach. When does a receiver need the ball? Deontay Johnson is obviously a head case. I'm not like he's cancer to the locker room, whatever you want to call him. All the negative things have been said about him. But you could also pretty much say he wasn't handled the best, right? There's a long history of wide receivers that with the Steelers are somehow able to be effective. Then they go elsewhere, and they're a complete mess. Well, what is Mike Tomlin doing? What did he tell Antonio Brown that got 6 straight unreal seasons out of him? Right? What did he tell Deontay Johnson that got him 100 catches? Find a way to make it work. I'm not blaming Canales for Deontay Johnson imploding, but I am saying, you got to figure out the best way to use your best talent. And then the other thing is, and I think this happened a few times, you got to feel when the offensive line is looking at the sideline and saying, feed me. And they're just saying, let's run the ball 10 times down their throat. Coach, they can't stop us. Let me kill the opponent's will to live with dive and power and dive and power and dive and a counter and dive and power and don't get too cute and go all right, we've done 4 straight runs. We have to do a play action. Don't do it if you're getting 5 yards a clip, right? Let that work. It's a gift and a curse to be really, really smart. The gift is you can be one step ahead of everybody. The curse is sometimes you keep it simple, stupid, right? Sometimes if it's working, you don't need to go to the next cool thing or the next awesome play. Sometimes, you know what? This isn't the best play for right now. It's not going to get us the most yards, but Bryce Young needs to see somebody catch a pass. So let's call a smoke screen, just a now, turn and look at me screen to Adam Thielen. He'll catch it. Thielen, we trust enough, and he's strong enough to fall forward for 3 yards. Now, if you call this other fancy, multiple scheme route, whatever, yeah, you might gain 12 yards. But also, Bryce Young might be trapped in a glass case of emotion. And instead, you get him a breather play, you get him a completion, and you move on to the next, and you have a better quarterback for it.
Right. You don't really want to handle Bryce Young with kid gloves at this point, right, headed into year 3. But do you think maybe they want to lean a little more run heavy? They've got Chuba Hubbard.
I'm okay saying handle him with kid gloves and put training wheels on.
Except in the preseason. I personally would like to see him play more than one series in the preseason this year.
The way you call your plays is whatever gets the best out of your players, right? There you don't get a prize for your young quarterback handling the entire playbook, right? There's no, hey, we start with 7 points, because it's not like gymnastics where you start with a degree of difficulty where it's like, hey, we have a chance to get more points because what Bryce is going to try to do is more difficult. It's not that. If you give him what he can do best and then you build off of that, and as he develops, you go from there. Like kid gloves and training wheels, it sounds derogatory, probably because it is. We need to come up with a better word for it. But there's nothing wrong with honing in on what your quarterback does well and understanding each of the last 2 years he's had explosions. He's had bad confidence issues. So let's ease him into the deep end here. Let's get him some easy completions early, and then once he's in a rhythm, maybe then it is time to go all right, let's heat it up. Let's throw our fastball. Let's do something crazy. And maybe there will be games where he played well last week, or you saw him play well in practice, or he's feeling a little froggy, might as well leap. Then you can start at the beginning of the game. But you got to get a feel for it. Like, I want my play caller walking up to everyone that's in the offense and looking them in the eye before the game. And you have to be, like, socially aware enough to go, all right, that wide receiver needs to go get hit first before we throw him a ball, right? He needs to settle in. You need to be able to feel that. It's part of being a play caller. And you need to also feel the opposite when it's like, oh, that guy's got a different look in his eye. Let's get him the ball 12 times today. You need both. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Do we have a Overdrive coming up next?
We do. It is going to be conversation about the Canes, looking for a second-line center. And then
the summer of a center.
Yes, summer of centers, and then also talk a little bit about Darian Mensah at Duke.
Okay, that's what's coming up on Overdrive. If you missed anything else in the show, feel free to check out our YouTube. You can go to live stream and go to the videos we post. Just search 99.9 The Fan on YouTube. It's easy to find. Subscribe while you are there. Tomorrow, hopefully we have Dennis back. He was a little under the weather today. But Max did a great job filling in. Overdrive is up next. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great night.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I know the hurricane season came to an end. Another year with a loss to Florida in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 of the last 3. But it's been a great year, and it's going to be a great summer with all that cap room the Hurricanes have. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, from free agency to trades to the draft. We'll have player interviews, special sit-down with Rod Brindamore that he doesn't even know about yet. He'll do it, don't worry. Just stay tuned to the Canes Corner podcast on YouTube. Search Canes Corner and wherever you get your podcast.
Hello, I'm John Heister for the Heister Automotive Group. And you know, we're constantly looking for ways to serve you better. One of the ways we do that is with something we call a Go-See. And that's where you select a vehicle from our inventory, and we have thousands, and we get one of our product specialists to bring that vehicle to you at your convenience. How do we do that? Well, it's simple. We have a group of employees that are evaluated based on the number of presentations they do. They're glad to do it. So it's just one more way we get off our keister and bring Heister to you.
Bank of America is the nation's leading business lender, and we're ready to help with your next goal here in the Triangle. That's why we have over 3,700 local business specialists across the country. Because with the right team, your business and community prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Is your heating and air system ready for the changing season? Call Newcomb & Company to ensure your system is running at peak performance. As a Comfort Contract customer, you'll get priority service and a 15% discount on all HVAC and plumbing service calls and repairs. Newcomb & Company, your independent trained dealer, has proudly served our community for more than 70 years, delivering reliable comfort and peace of mind. Call 919-862-3000 or visit newcombandcompany.com. Newcomb & Company, your comfort is our business.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com